Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MotoOption Supercross. From France, riding for Impact, number 22, Nathan Prin. From Oswego, New York, riding for Underground RC, number 39, Caleb Hall. From Tampa, Florida, riding for JIBR.co, 2021 MX Simulator National Champion, number 5, Tyler Lang. From Lillington, North Carolina, riding for TSCZ Production, number 11, Luke Sullivan. From Watkins Glen, New York, riding for Phil Ski and Snowboard, number 12, Braden Castellaneta. From Mattawan, Michigan, riding for Phil's Ski and Snowboard, number 78, Jacob Hubbard. From Shawnigan Lake, Canada, riding for District Designs, number 24, Colby Eaglin. From France, riding for Phil's Ski and Snowboard, 2018 Supercross champion, number 7, Alexis Leclerc. From Scottsdale, Arizona, riding for District Designs, 2022 MX Simulator National Champion, number 51, Payson Johnson.
That's the stupid truth. I slap a booty red, attach it to a bed, then I use it loose. Cruise ahead, patty banger through the roof and do a doggy till I get charged with animal abuse. Alive and living, I've been a hard-headed victim ever since I saw death in the car. Recollection from bars, reckless drinking from hard sex with women and getting tatted like a walking, talking art exhibition. Listen, I just want the amazing life that Jay-Z has, who plays Mercedes Jags, ladies banging me to lazy jazz. But rap is tough, I have to hustle like a crazy ass. The most underrated is what you could rate me as. I'll take these jabs, you make me bleed, but you won't make me spaz. I wait and choke you like on a face and make the gas. My dad passed before he got the 41. That's when I knew no one's important or immortal, son. We're all just drums, me, I'm only in it for the fun. I came to spray the audience with champagne and water guns. And when I go, I pray to God my friends pour me some gin on my grave like my name was Jim Morrison.
Rewind
Check the tape.
win the Anaheim opener in 2000. Braden Carter's going to win tonight in Anaheim. Through to win the Seattle Supercross.
2022 Supercross champion.
From Costa Mesa, California, riding for Phil's Ski and Snowboard, your two-time and defending Supercross champion, number 1, Braden Carter.
No way. No way.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into round 10 of the 2023 MotoOption AMA Esports Supercross Championship live here on Start Your Systems. My name is Kellen Brower, and joining me in the booth again this week, Andrew Wood. He is back, ladies and gentlemen, to call the racing action tonight from Detroit. This is going to be a great night of racing. I know you missed the racing last week, Andrew, but boy, we had a first-time winner in Alec Horn. We also had Payson Johnson getting his second win of the season. Things are tightening up in both these title races already.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit interesting. Right when we thought 250 class was going to be a runaway, we saw a new winner in there, so that was pretty interesting. And then some big mistakes by Carter and Leclerc let Johnson kind of get in there and tighten up this points chase in the 450 class. So really looking forward to tonight and the rest of the season as it moves on. Yeah,
Detroit is definitely going to be quite an interesting round as we move into the second half of this championship. Now, Indy behind us, only 8 more rounds left to go in this series. Now, of course, before we start racing at Detroit tonight, we have to talk about qualifying and how things shook up in qualifying here tonight for the Detroit Supercross and MX Simulator. It looks like Payson Johnson is riding the high from that win last week. He has gone fastest here tonight at a 57 flat, 57.3. Also in the mix there is Braden Carter, Colby Eaglin, Leclerc, Tyler Lang, all the usual suspects up top, and got to go down a little ways to find someone outside of the 57. So close times tonight, but even Johnson with those close times still finding a little bit of separation.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what Payson does is he goes out and he can throw down those hot laps and separate himself. And that 2 through 9 is all super close as far as between those guys. So I feel like it's going to really come down to who gets a start here tonight and who's really flowing with the track. We got some rhythms right off the start straight. So start's going to be really important.
As we look into our 250 East runners here tonight, of course, Alec Horn coming off the win last week. Bryce Whelan still our championship leader. We'll get into that in a second. But how about this? The Canadian, Matt Cromie, fastest tonight at a 59.937, just edging out Colin Allen there in the mix as well. Seth Carr, Cooper Hunt, and Sean Merwin here tonight as well. So again, similar with the close times, we still have to go all the way back down to, 13th to find someone outside, or 14th, I should say, to find someone that is outside of a second beyond where Matt Cromie's time is. But how about this? Chrome Dog up front.
Yeah, Cromie really with some, I feel like we haven't seen him qualify too high so far this year so far. So it's going to be really interesting if he can kind of play spoiler in there. You saw Horn do it last week and with Bryce Whelan down there in 6th, but he's always not the best qualifier, but always shows up in the race. So I don't think he's finished off the box yet so far. So Whelan's still going to be a contender there, but maybe some new names that are going to try to get in there and kind of spoil this a little bit.
Yeah, if we look at our championship standings, we'll actually go ahead and start off by taking a look at our 250 East standings here to kick off the night. Bryce Whelan comes in with a 24-point lead over Talon Zollers, and then Horn moves into third in the championship after that win last week, 41 down. So Whelan already establishing himself here as basically the man to beat in 250 East. And as we get into their second half of the season as well, we're starting to get into a situation where Whelan might start managing this championship to some degree. And like you said, maybe that presents an opportunity for some more first-time winners like Horn to break through.
Yeah, I do think we're going to see some different winners here as it comes down the stretch a little bit. Whelan doesn't really have anything to worry about. Even if Chromie goes and knocks off a win, it's really just a battle for second at this point. Whelan's going to have some really bad rounds, and it's going to need to be one of those top three guys, especially looking at Zollers, that starts to put himself in the right position. If those guys are switching it up further down the pack, I really think it's going to be just a walk away from this for Whelan.
All right, and lastly, we'll take a look at our 450 standings coming into tonight, and this is where it starts to get interesting, folks. 8 rounds left to go in this championship. Braden Carter has won his lion's share of the race wins this year, but he still just has that 15-point advantage with Johnson getting a second win of the year last week. Leclerc 2 weeks ago got his first win of the year. These guys are still within that one race distance, and as we move into the second half of the season, it's going to take just these little inches here and there to start chipping away at Carter, and maybe, just maybe, they take this thing all the way down to the stretch.
Yeah, this is the class I've been looking forward to since the season started. 5-point swing between Johnson and Carter last week. So good to see that tightening up a little bit. And Leclerc didn't lose as much as I thought he was going to with those guys switching it up a little bit. So, yeah, really going to be interesting. It is kind of those three are the story, but, we've seen Eaglin get up there and get a win. So those guys need to start playing spoiler, and every single round is going to start to count between these guys as we move down the stretch here into the second half of the season.
All right, so that is the storyline coming into round 10 of the 2023 MotoOption AMA Esports Supercross Championship here from Detroit. Here's a brief overlook of the track from the bird's eye perspective of the stadium here tonight. We're going to jump in the game and also take a look at what the track looks like here for you guys to get a first look at the track before we go racing here tonight. A bit of a unique racetrack, not too atypical from what we see out of football stadiums with that long start straight into a sweeping left-hand corner. But after those first couple rhythm sections, it gets a little bit weird. You have a right 90 on off and another right 90, and then it dragons back to flat. Well, actually, if we can real quick, give you guys a real quick look. Oh, no, we're already loaded into the heat race by the looks of it. But again, those flat 90s onto a jump onto the start straight. You have a U-turn into the finish line jump. One of the longest set of whoops we've had all year. And then the switchbacks. A right 180, a left 180, a right 90, all mixing together there, going up to that big jump over the start straight. Going to be pretty interesting tonight, Andrew, to see how this all shakes up with how weird this track is, I guess, right?
Yeah, 4 90s on the track, and then kind of a lot of what seems like wasted space going back and forth across the start straight. Glad they do utilize the floor a little bit more in the smaller football stadiums here. To extend those lap times, but those can actually be interesting with some guys are just really good with their corner speed. And then as we're going to watch Howman come over here, we got this little couple jumps and a huge double across the start straight. That's going to be interesting, and that's going to give us some good whip shots, I'm sure. But yeah, interesting to see what those long rhythm lanes and long whip section do for us here tonight.
Just got an update from chat that Rasmus Balzer, the winner of the Daytona and Arlington rounds of the year, couple rounds ago, has missed qualifying here tonight. So unfortunately, no Rapid Dane of Rasmus Balzer on the gate here tonight for 250 East. That takes away one of the players we could expect to battle for the win here tonight, already out of the racing action. But here we go. 9 go to the main event here in 250 Heat 1. Let's go racing in Detroit. Oh, that land rush up the inside. You can see one of the Yamahas got pushed out wide. That may have actually been the 46 of Horn. Let's see who gets the whole shot. John Heilman's out front early, but there is our fastest qualifier, Matt Cromie, trying to move into the race lead. He's going to put Seth Carr down, and Cromie goes to the front.
Yeah, Heilman got landed on. Luckily, was able to ride away from that, and Cromie with a nice pass up the inside there. But he's got so many guys still up close behind him after that long start. And look at that, actually going to get moved up inside by Thomas Unis. Showing you how that 90 can work out a little bit differently at the end of that rhythm section, depending on if you go inside or outside. But Thomas Unis is going to lead us around here first to the finish line on this lead lap.
Yeah, Nicky T going to lead us across the line. Matt Cromie still right behind him in second there on the 90. And here's the first look at the whoops, which have been treacherous for a lot of guys this season, especially in this 250 class. Tomasunas hopping a little bit. Cromie down the inside is going to try to make that pass stick. Woo! He gets it back. Tomasunas crosses back over. Cromie goes to the mechanics area. And again, they switch back and forth. Tomasunas holding onto that race lead. Let's see if Cromie can square this corner off and maybe get a better drive up to this big double jump. Oh, he tries to get that rear tire planted and slides out. Little dualies over the jump, but Tomasunas not laid too far over right there as he continues to lead the race. Cromie right there. You got Cody Allen, I think, from iSpec also in the mix, and trying to chase down our two leaders, which the fight continues to battle out front as Cromie's going to triple in. Let's see if he gets a lead right here.
Yeah, so triple there. How's that going to end up? Doubling, not going to go to the outside, going to elect to actually come in. He might have clipped the bail there, slowed up a little bit, but just going to funnel back in behind Tomasunas. But these lead two kind of starting to get a little bit of a gap on third, and the rest of the guys, there was a huge group right behind them, but trying to separate themselves and just kind of make this a 1-2 race right here. These guys both looking good through the long rhythm section last lap, or whoop section. Let's see how it ends up this time. Cromie a little bit faster, but now going outside, and I do like how these guys were using these back and forth sections right here, going inside out and all that stuff. And we see Cromie dropping back a little bit. Yeah. Now he's got Cody right up behind him. So this is going to be interesting if Cromie can keep it up front or if he's going to start moving back here.
Yeah, Cromie, our fastest qualifier, already under attack a little bit as he gets upside down again. He's feeling the flow on that big double jump. But can he start feeling the flow and inching back away from this battle for second and instead go after our race leader? There's the option lines right there as well. You see Cody there going on the left side, quad triple, whereas Cromie electing to go for the on-off triple single, and then again the option lines here where Tomasunas electing to double into that rhythm section so he doesn't have to do that peaky double on exit. Oh. 3 different lines used right there. Oh, and Cody goes down. The iSpec rider hitting the deck. He's going to lose several positions. Let's see if he loses a transfer spot. No, he's going to get going just in time. It looks like Alec Horn has actually moved up to our final transfer spot, so he was the rider down going into that first corner. The field ski and snowboard number 46, last week's winner at Indianapolis, trying to regroup. He's got Race Cobble right in front of him. Oh, but Cobble's going to go down on the rear of Eduardo Simos. Dudu Mutumbinho down on the ground with Seth Carr going by. So these guys, this is 8th now with Alec Horn moving to 7th. Cody is in 6th. Oh, our leader, Nicky T, has gone down. So Cromie's going to take over the race lead all by himself. Got a big gap established all the way back now to Gerst coming through with Alex Zellner following him in 3rd place.
Yeah, this 250 class is always awesome because there's always seems to be some new faces kind of up front battling for some heat race wins and stuff. So it's cool to see new faces. Ethan Gerst, though, been fast all year as he's going to mess up that triple in there. Alex Zellner is going to easily get by him. He keeps stacking that rhythm. He's going to lose 2 spots to Heilman as well as Evan Holtze right there. So, man, kind of a tough thing going with those 250s tripling into that section. It is a really big jump in there, and that's why we were seeing Tomasunas double in, but he was losing a lot of time there. Cromie just wasn't able to make it work. But so Gerst now goes for that triple and loses a lot of spots there. So he's got a crowd of guys coming up behind him, and they're the ones who are kind of right on the edge of that transfer spot. So they're looking to move their way forward. So Ethan Gerst needs to kind of kick it in the gear, or else he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's trying to put that pressure on Holtze. Heilman on the 43 there, still right behind Gerst, and then Tomasunas and a whole freight train of other riders also in the mix. I think everybody in this group is still in a transfer spot at the current point in time, but it could all go south in a hurry. Back up to our race leader, Matt Cromie, checking in right now at 4.5 minutes in, so we still got 1.5 minutes plus that 1 lap after time expires still to go, and Cromie picking up right where you left off here from qualifying with a good start. Looked a little rough in the beginning, but now has found his groove, established a nice big lead, and this is looking pretty solid for Cromie. Is this a potential first win of the season for Matt Cromie here tonight in Detroit?
Yeah, it's just a heat race win, but when you kind of do it in such a dominant fashion after having such a great start, it really helps you out with your confidence going into the night show or into the main event. Cromie's just kind of cruising around here. It's fun to see him use lines that look comfortable, a lot of outsides. He has zero pressure whatsoever. Kind of reminds me of like Roxon a little bit in the heat this week. Just once you get out front and look at that, just tossing it. He always does that. Oh, don't do that. But he's scrubbing everything. He's a seasoned vet, so he's been around, and he's got that riding style that you just want to flow and feel comfortable. And when you get a lead so big, you can ride the way that is most comfortable for you. So even if you see him make mistakes like case that triple in there, he's going to kind of figure it out, or he knows he's got the the room to back it off. So good to see him out front riding with so much confidence and so smooth.
Yeah, seasoned veteran, no question about it. His UID in the 5,000 certainly stood out on that quali page among all the 20,000, 30,000, and 40,000 UID riders we have in this 250 class these days. Evan Holt has moved up into second place, so we've lost Zellner. Cody Cooper, as I've learned from iSpec here, running in third. There's Carr, Horn, and Zellner now 4, 5, 6. Then we go back to seventh. Nick Thomasuna holding down that position. Gerst has slipped back to eighth. And it's Christopher McPherson Jr. right now in the final transfer spot. But Sean Merwin, who qualified up inside the top 5 this week, looking to make a dent into this to try to make the main event here tonight in Detroit. It's got to go through McPherson to do it. We always love these battles for the final transfer spot. And with 2 laps to go in this one, it could get dicey between these two guys.
Yeah, it's winding down. We had a mistake by Merwin. Oh, it looked like at the beginning he was getting all sorts of sideways at the beginning of the whoop section, but ends up right close by him. Maybe he just has that speed, and he's going to go in a little bit early. He doesn't really have the leverage, slides into him, and man, look at that front end lock. Won't stop. He just keeps going back and forth. But I feel like that was just a little bit premature by Merwin there. You still got over a lap to go, and you were clearly gaining on the guy, but now you just lost yourself a bunch of room. So McPherson's got to be pumped that he stayed up from that, was able to fight off, and now look at the gap he's got. So you see that going double in there. A little bit easier for these guys, but yeah, not as fast. So maybe he's going to need to watch out for one more last lap charge. We'll see Heilman now in the spot.
Yeah, Heilman moved around Merwin. Wouldn't be too sure about McPherson at this point in time, though. You can see how much time he lost in the whoops. He's definitely riding a little bit nervous as he comes over the finish line jump. Nobody ahead of him has gone down just yet. Cromie with that 6-second lead on this final lap. Looks like he's got it all but sewed up. But here comes Heilman and Sean Merwin trying to close down on McPherson for this final transfer spot. Look at Merwin having a great drive in the whoops. He's going to try to pass Heilman. He might just pass them all both right here as Heilman jumps across. McPherson's going to have to push wide. Merwin tees on McPherson, and Heilman's going to stay on 2 wheels in the final transfer spot. Now Merwin's still going for the send. He's not quite close enough to get there. So will Heilman hold on as we go out to our race leader? Matt Cromie is going to bring this thing home. It's going to be Chrome Dog with the win here. 250 Heat 1 at Detroit.
I know he's pumped on that. Moving back, Cody Cooper there now second. Alec Horn.
Got Holtzy, Alec Horn,
Horn, Carr, Zellner. Let's see if there's any action back here. Ethan Gerst. No, Heilman all alone way back here in ninth. So he's just got to cruise around. Man, Merwin, I feel like you got to know when to pick your spots. And that was not
went
the
for the
spot.
double kill, dude.
Served it up on a platter for Heilman as he's going to come up across easily in the ninth and final transfer spot with a big gap, almost 3 seconds. Don't think he's going to be losing that on cuts. McPherson's got to be a little upset. Merwin, I feel like you had it, man. We got to take you to class and teach you, the last lap takeout spots. And he was still pushing after he got up pretty close and put himself down on the ground again. So,
Sean Merwin out here earning himself the Hardy Munoz Award of the night early on in this event. So we'll see if he carries that sort of fire into the LCQ. Maybe makes that one interesting as well. But as cuts finally come in, let's give you guys our top 9 in this one. It was Heilman who does indeed stamp that 9th position. Ethan Gerst finishes up in 8th. Thomasuna 7th. Looks like Zellner holds on for 6th. Seth Carr in 5th. Alec Horn leapfrogs Evan Holt. They all leapfrog Cody Cooper, who finished 2nd. He drops back to 4th. You got Horn in 3rd. Holt gets 2nd. And our winner, Matt Cromie, in this one. As he's running Braden Carter's gear, I never even realized that, but he's got the big old number 1 on his back. But Cromie leads them to the main event out of 250 Heat number 1, setting himself up well. But of course, next up, 250 Heat number 2 coming up is our championship leader and reigning champion, Bryce Whelan, which is Cromie's teammate.
Man, I don't know if Cromie plays first or third person, but I mean, I wore Jack Haley's number 1 for like 2 years straight just because the number 1 felt good, like instilled some confidence in you. So if he can see it, I love that move there. Maybe he messed up. Maybe he just likes the way the gear looks, but loving that for him. I'm surprised he didn't make his way over to the podium, Cromie. You got to get that together if you get yourself
we got to see the burnout on the podium.
I felt like I was expecting that from him, but maybe if he takes it home in the main event, we'll see that happen. But yeah, great ride by Cromie. He's kind of been knocking on the door, showed some good speed at past rounds so far this year. But man, this 250 class, I love that it's giving, new life to, long careers or getting some guys some fresh starts. Even a heat race win, like I said, can give you that confidence to have a great main event. So good to see Cromie back on top.
Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain. I don't remember. Cromie, I think, has a win in 250 Supercross before at some point in time.
I think
but
so.
It's 2013, 14 maybe since it's last happened. So we're looking at potentially the longest gap between race victories ever if Chromie could get it done tonight, which would be pretty cool.
He's been in title fights for sure too. So he's definitely been up there. He's had a long and storied career, a little bit of Chromie chaos thrown in there and some good times, but he's a lot older now, a lot more mature, and he's just riding to have fun. He's not some guy that's going out and it's hard when you're playing against these young kids that have the time that we used to have and just putting in hours and hours and hours into this game. So it's got to feel good for him, no matter what class he's racing in, to go out there and even just get a heat race win. And I'm sure we'll continue to see him have a good night like he has so many times already this year, but he wants to put that thing on the box and more importantly on the top step.
Absolutely. We'll see if he can carry that momentum through to the main event and challenge the runners that we'll see in this second 250 heat race coming up right here in Detroit. Already seen one time through how this track is raced so far. We like the switchback so far based on what we've seen from some of the takeouts for that final transfer spot, as well as our lead battle early on. So what seems to be maybe the most boring part of the track from a viewing perspective so far has provided some fireworks, and hopefully that continues to carry through for the rest of the evening here.
Yeah, it's really difficult when you're in the position in front of someone. Even if you're the same speed, you're going in, you need to dive in inside and kind of exit on the outside, and you're going to kind of have to go in fast and pivot, and you lose so much of that corner speed. You can't really open the corner up and get as much speed as you can. So the guy behind you really has the advantage coming in wide and kind of cutting down or even just kind of swinging it around. Same with they get to see what you're doing in the 90-degree corners. So they do have a little bit more freedom to make some passes here. So I've never really liked being in a forward position in those sort of setups, but I wish they had like the walls and the inside ruts like 09 St. Louis, where you had J-Law just fourth wide around the outside of a wall, but you also had
tonight
people going inside. Oh, Balzer must have got in. I wonder if timing just didn't update and our people in chat were a little misinformed. But
I'm noticing is it seems like there's 20 guys in this heat, so I don't think that would be a non-full gate situation, but that is interesting to see that Balzer has made it in, so that's obviously good news for him that he's made it through. Now we get to see what happens in this second 250 East heat race. That 30 card is going to go sideways. The Revs are going to come up. 9 riders are going to the main event. Let's find out who they are. It's 250 Heat 2 in Detroit.
Big wheelie right there.
Yeah, Bryce wheeling with the wheelie into the first corner, but around the outside, is that Balzer on the 35? It is, but up the inside, the 18 machine, looks like he got to the line first. That's Cooper Hunt, but Balzer is going to go to the lead. Oh, Colin Allen down on the rear tire of Cooper Hunt. Oh, and big takeout in the background. Wheeling got cleaned out. I couldn't see who it was down the inside, but the one machine looks to be down in our second corner as Balzer leads away from Cooper Hunt.
Yeah, not malicious there, and luckily for Whelan, he just tipped over, but not sure if it's a kind of a dangerous spot. If people keep running into you, you can easily get one of those 10-second fall-offs, but Balzer with a great start, even pushing wide, was able to kind of fight back early and get the spot back from the number 18, who was able to hug that inside there. So Balzer, I mean, maybe he's got some confidence, had a couple rough rounds earlier on, but he's kind of picking up his form later as we move on into the season now. And Balzer already with a big lead. You see that makes him a little bit more comfortable. This top two really spread out from the rest of the pack. So a little bit different start than we saw from that first 250 heat and how close those guys were early on. So it's all going to be kind of up to Balzer if he can keep the speed up. And also, oh, look at that. Hits a little quad there after wheeling in. I like that line. I don't think I saw anyone do that, but it's going to be all up to him to see if he takes this one home.
Yeah, looking comfortable out front already, pulling this gap out over Cooper Hunt. Do want to go back to our championship leader and find out what's going on with him. Looks like he maybe has lost more positions, or did we just miss him somewhere? No, he has. He went down at some point. Not sure where it was, but he's back to 20th now. He was in 10th on timing and scoring at the end of the first lap, but unfortunately it looks like Whelan has done some more damage to himself, either through some crashing or some other instances. And just looking at a quick glance at the map right here, he's in 18th now. Going to have to get maybe about 2 more corners ahead in terms of track position to try to make the main event tonight. Unfortunately, there is plenty of time. He's still got 4 minutes plus a lap to try to make it happen, but these races are so quick, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of opportunity to make that time up without some help coming your way from guys going down like we just saw right there.
Yeah, this 250 class 2, you can kind of see it on the map in the top right. They're already really, really spread out to that top 9. So it's going to be, passes are going to be few and far between. Even if people start going down, he's going to need to put the hammer down and keep it consistent, but also hope for a lot of luck coming from that top view. I'm trying to kind of see where that 9 spot is, and it looks like it's entering that long rhythm section. So he's a couple turns, and he's 8 guys back from that. So going to be a lot of work here, and we might see Whelan go into the LCQ. And if he does or does not make it, that's going to be a huge shakeup in this championship. And if I'm Zollers or the next closest guy, you're going to be licking your lips and being like, okay, now's the time to kick it into gear because I got to do something big.
Well, speaking of Zollers, we got to figure out where he is because he should be in this heat race. And so where is Talon Zollers, the man sitting second in this championship? I don't see him unless I missed him in the first heat race. Talon Zollers perhaps not here tonight, which would obviously just open up the door of opportunity even that much more for Bryce Whelan. So unless I'm just drawing a complete blank, I don't remember Zollers even being in the first heat race. And Whelan might have gotten a huge break if this is going to be the worst night of his season if he can't make that main event. And he's going to go down. Another rider getting back on the track right in front of him. That's
not how you want to re-enter. It looks like a Crotty or...
Yeah, a Crotty perhaps. Yeah, right. Yeah. Good call out. I was thinking Nygren, but it was
there's
one of
only
those
like 2 guys on Suzuki.
Suzuki's, yeah.
And it's both those 2 teammates, I think. So 50-50 chance there. Man, I don't know if Zollers was in that first race. He definitely didn't make it, and if he's not here, then that's
our leader's down. Our leader is down. Balzer, as we'll get back to that Zollers point in a minute, but Colin Allen is going to go to the race lead right here. Allen, who is down in the second corner, takes over the race lead from Jacob Kelly, and Balzer remounts in third. But yes, back to what you were saying there about Zollers.
Yeah, Zollers, if he's not there, he didn't make it. I see people in chat saying he didn't qualify, so I don't know what's going on there. But then Bryce Whelan has nothing to worry about. It's like 41 points to the third place guy. So even if you come out and lose 26, you still got a pretty nice lead that I'd be happy with. We're about getting close to, I think, to halfway through this 250 East Coast Championship, or maybe one race away from that. But yeah, I mean, Bryce Whelan, if this is his worst night, then it's going to be huge to have Zollers not here as well, because that's really was going to be his only competition, if anything.
Yeah, I think the only thing that you can be a little bit bummed about if you're Whelan in this situation is the fact that if you do have a good night here tonight, somehow, some way still in Detroit, without Zollers being here, and maybe you put this thing so far out of reach, you can clinch 2 rounds early, because if Zollers isn't here, obviously going to extend that gap out somewhere over the 30 mark. Without him being here, if you're able to get into the main event. But right now, it is looking a little bit bleak for not only Bryce Whelan, but of course Talon Zollers, who is not here. And Balzer just got put on the ground. I wasn't sure if that was contact as he gets up going right in front of Tyler Nichols. This is now our battle for third. Balzer running into a little bit more problems here and just can't quite get away. There's Nygren back in 5th, Holmes 6th, Alfrey 7th, Kazarian runs in 8th, and Jacob Kelly has slipped back to 9th after running up in 3rd early on. So Bear is 10th. McKellar 11th. We got Joey Rico in 12th. Kyler Smith is 13th. Emmett Sund 14th. Jace Williams is 15th. And then Whelan still back here in, actually the 17th spot. So we must have missed somebody in there. But Whelan has work still to do to even get a decent gate pick for this LCQ at this point. Time is about to expire. And at this rate, he's going to have an outside gate pick in the last chance qualifier. And we've already seen this first turn, that sweeping left-hand corner. It can work if you get a great start like Balzer, but if you don't get to the corner first, you're going to get pushed wide and potentially go down.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks too. He had a great start. He was in about 3rd, but just went wide and got clipped by someone. Look at that. Interesting way to go through that rhythm there. But it's crazy to see Whelan, West, and Crotty behind him so far back. These guys just having a meltdown type of heat race here. Even look at that, just can't avoid people. I feel like he just needs a reset. I mean, he's obviously going to be a favorite in an LCQ with the way he's been getting starts this year. But, man, it's going to be interesting to say the least. You feel like it's a guarantee that he's going to make it, but sometimes you just have an off night. And Whelan doesn't look comfortable anywhere right now. And it's kind of, yeah, it's hard to watch that after he's been so perfect, so smooth all season. He was like the slow and steady guy, too. He wasn't even balls to the wall with his speed. So, really crazy to watch that. But
coming to the white flag, we got a change for the lead. Cooper Hunt has taken it over from Colin Allen. Saw that happen on timing and scoring, so switched up here to the front. Allen making a couple mistakes, almost went down before that Dragon's back. And Cooper Hunt looking to try to pick up this win. Allen doesn't look like he's done with him just yet, though. This is going to come down to the wire between these two.
Yeah, Cooper Hunt's gotta keep his eyes in the back of his head here. don't want to focus too far back, but in those those turns we just saw, not close enough to make a pass happen. But you really got to watch out for someone kind of being able to run their own lines there. And looks like a little mistake there. It looks like K-Store had to roll that big double. So Cooper Hunt's actually going to have a lot of breathing room here. So good for him. He's going to be able to kind of ride into this one. Just got to keep it slow. And he's not hitting that big rhythm there. Just wants to get in and make sure he can get away with this heat race win. So a little bit different heat race than we saw in the first heat. With Chromie just kind of dominating this one with a little bit more mixing up happening.
Absolutely, but it is going to be Cooper Hunt who survives everything in the end, and Cooper Hunt takes 250 heat number 2 here in Detroit. A little bike hump over the line, lands to flat, but he's all good. He's going to still ride it out, take it to the main event. Definitely will be gate pick 2, though. Chromie's heat race was faster than this one. Balzer ends up in 3rd, Nygren 4th, Holmes 5th, Clay Alfrey 6th. Oh, tons of riders are down on the start straight right here. We got riders coming in, too. So this is going to change up. Arico is going to go through. Jacob Kelly, we got guys trying to get to the inside. It looks like Baylor McKellar is just going to make it through. Jared Gumson, also back there with Tyler Nichols. Austin Bear, somehow, some way, Whelan actually got pretty close in the end. He's only about 4 seconds back of transfer when the dust finally settles. About 6 seconds now that I do the math, but still pretty close. Carson West, Parliament, Crotty, Williams, Kazarian going to bring us all the way through with Emmett's son, Kyler Smith. Colgress did not finish this one out. Let's take a look at cuts. Looks like some guys got shuffled around. Yes, the 351 of Kelly looks like he had originally crossed in 8th spot. He's going to end up in 10th. It's pushed back. Baylor McKellar goes from 9th to 8th, and Jared Gummison, Mid-Atlantic Power Wash, goes from 10th to 9th to, I believe, make his first ever main event. I haven't seen this name out here before, so it'll be cool if he's in his first main event to see how excited he is about that. Looks like he's pretty stoked ripping around the track right now, but he has made it to the main event. So too has Joey Arico. Clay Alfrey, Brandon Holmes, Brandon Nygren lost a spot to Clay Alfrey, Balzer, Allen, and of course our winner Cooper Hunt. Chaos in this heat race, and Bryce Whelan goes to the last chance qualifier tonight in Detroit.
Yeah, what a big shakeup there. Really cool to see Gumison get that. We're just going to be freestyling that name all night, I feel. But good to see him get that transfer, man. It feels good to get on cuts. Even if you didn't get it 100%, you know, you were right there and put yourself in that position. So, but really good to see Cooper Hunt, surviving that hectic heat race there. And we're going to move on to this 450 class, which is going to be interesting to see kind of where these guys shape up. The qualifying times, it's really hard to see who's kind of gelling with the track because they're all so good at putting down laps and they're so close. So I feel like the heat races is where you kind of really get to see who's kind of shining on a certain night. Even like Eaglin, when we were at that first Triple Crown and I saw him doing well, you kind of are just like, oh, it's going to be his night tonight. Like when you see him running in the top 3, you're like, oh shoot, he like got it together and he's really gelling with it. So 450 class is always entertaining to see. And then we're going to move on through and see our favorite races of the night too. Can't wait for the LCQ, especially when we have a red plate and title contender or a title defender in that with the 250 LCQ with Whelan. Yeah,
Whelan's going to have his work cut out in the LCQ as we're back in studio with you guys here. Little intermission as we head into the 450 racing here tonight. 450 Heat 1 will be coming up next, so we're going to see the big dogs here tonight. Payson Johnson, Braden Carter, Alexis Leclerc, Colby Eaglin, you name them. They're here to race for you guys here tonight in round 10 of MotoOption AMA Esports Supercross. Live here on Start Your Systems, Init Esports on Twitch and ESTV, wherever you're watching with us. We appreciate you guys watching the 10th round of MotoOption AMA Esports Supercross, brought to you tonight by Racetech Suspension, Phil Ski and Snowboard, Underground RC, and of course MotoOption backing us here for our 13th year of MotoOption Supercross. Well, 250 racing is done, 450 racing still to come. What I'm most excited about in this one, Andrew, and I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see if we got some big lines that these guys can do in some of these rhythm sections. Are we going to see a quad down that long rhythm lane or what?
I think so. You said maybe 1 or 2. I mean,
think they can do it. If you and I, we discussed this before. If I can do a line, surely those guys can do it at least once.
Did you do it, or you got close?
I did do it. I didn't land it. I did like the tap clip thing.
If we get halfway up the landing to the quad, they're easily quadding.
Yeah.
When you got guys like Payson out here, I'm sure he's going to do a 5 or something out there. But maybe they've been going in 03, taking some hints from Bobby Big Lines out there.
Bobby Big Lines.
And little warrior out there showing these guys the big lines. But I mean, yeah, these guys are nuts. I mean, Payson, little tire taps like that are easy. But even with this, the 250 guys were going left side and quadding. So we were looking at that right side on off, and he's got to be doing something dumb there.
Yeah, I mean,
in.
just jumping.
He's
that
probably
far.
jumping, compressing,
and
quad,
then
quad.
He's going 5.2 into that corner.
Possibly. I don't even want to know what
Oh,
Payson's
my
doing, but we're
goodness.
going to find out real quick.
Ooh, empty gates here tonight. 450 class looking a little bleak in the second half of the season in MotoOption
racing next
Esports
week.
Supercross. But let's drop the gate. 450 racing, 9 go through. About 4 are going to be unhappy. Here we go. Who's way outside
Ooh.
too? Somebody deep out there coming
I
in
like
hot.
that, though.
Is that Hubbard up the inside? It is. Jacob Hubbard on the 78 grabbing that whole shot in this one. It's going to be Rogan McIntosh right there in the second position right behind him. And Johnson with Lang. Oh, Lang tucks the front end and goes down on the 5. So looks like Johnson's going to get third all to himself. You also got Luke Sullivan, Enzo Butigny up in the mix. Colby Eaglin getting crossed over with Bob Joe around the back of door of him there. I met Bob Joe at Redbud, so this must be a
I thought that was a
hometown-ish race.
fake person.
No, it's a real dude.
Always.
Oh man, it's getting
Sullivan had a
dicey in
little
here.
duel Trileys.
Trileys.
Luke Sullivan got the lag bubble that put T Lang down there. Kind of bummer for Lang after a great start there. But look at this 450 class. Even when people are going down, it's just so close. These guys, veterans, so much speed. Seeing that empty gate makes me want to race, but then I know I'd be way behind all these guys because they're just a solid pack of like 10 dudes. Already seeing some moves.
Butigny with the French punt on Colby Eaglin, dude. Put him in the next week out there. Look at him. He's on the other side of the track trying to recollect his thoughts as Brandon Larson on the 73 who joined Phil's this week goes by. Holy smokes, Colby Eaglin getting tossed like a wet salad out there. Let's go back up front. Is Johnson doing anything cool? Triple in, casing it. Nope, he's going to treat it like a whoop section from here on out. Might actually get past because here comes Hubbard trying to fight back.
That was as far from the coolest thing that I thought Payson Johnson was going to do. So we'll have to wait till maybe got some wheel spin, setting up something gnarly, and we're going to see it next lap. But Payson and these 450 guys starting to use that inside line that the 250 guys weren't really using much at all. We saw a couple in those transfer position battles, but Payson right up here showing some good speed, but Sullivan not too far behind, and he's been or not Sullivan, Hubbard, but he's been so great with his starts all year. And it's just something that's not a fluke anymore. When you got it down, you got it down. Followed up behind a couple other guys. But Payson right now trying to set the stage here and just kind of dominate these guys. Yeah, let's see what he's doing through these rhythm sections.
No, he's not busting that triple line that we thought he might be. Just going step on, step off triple smoothly here. So maybe he is just taking it easy in the heat race, trying to figure out his race lines.
Nah, he's
triples
gonna
in
do something
here.
right
Let's
here.
see. Yeah, there it is. Triple, quad. And then quad again. So that is the big line that we expected to see out of Johnson. Some of these other guys, look at even down here.
That
going
was
quad.
sick.
Out of the 90 big lines and already has a huge gap established on Hubbard. Let's get a lap time check on that. This is going to be really good if he gets that inside run clean. 58.8. They're doing 57s in qualifying. Hubbard at a 59.8 also back there with McIntosh on a 1 flat. 1 flat, Connor Holiak checks in. 59 flat for T Lang and P5. 101.2 for Anthony Pachone. Enzo Butigny running the same time behind him. Luke Sullivan on that 1 flat .2. And Tharp rounding out our transfer spots on a 1 flat .7 for his best. 101.3 last time by. He's got a little bit of time opened up on B-Lars, joining Phil's this week on the 73. Looking pretty in pink out there. I'm sure you're stoked on your guy. Repping the new Phil stuff this week, though. He's looking sharp.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the pink gear as well, and I just love the fact that he was the guy who was out there on gate 22. You saw him with what probably would have been a good start. He went wide, way up on the landing of this big double here, which is a move I used to use.
That's
and
Sullivan
he gets into
down.
Sullivan. So now Sullivan's going to be the final transfer spot. Brandon Larson's going to be the one just shy. Still, Sullivan though getting kicked a little bit sketchy. Got to bring it back together. Take a deep breath here. But breath. I just breath. I just love that was him using that move. That's something I would do, but it still screwed him because someone else went wide and took him out on the start. So,
rider down,
bummer for
our
him.
off track. That's Tharp.
Oh,
Tharp
Tharp's
rejoins, and how did they not
Ooh.
go down? Looks like Brock Pappy and Hunter Lawrence getting together as here comes T-Lang from off track and Duro man like Mitch Butler out there getting sideways in front of everybody. Go out quadsies over the finish line jump. You also got Ethan Parks, I think, here on the 147 in the mix. Lang's going to cut underneath him.
Oh my God.
They're going to rub number plates into the whoop section. Who's going to get the better drive? Parks to the outside, Lang to the inside, Tharp crossing over in front. In the background, there's Bob Joe's also in the mix. Oh, Lang stands up. Parks on the outside, and Lang moves up into the final transfer spot. So this is 9, 10, 11, 12 on your screen right here. Lang is trying to get it back, and Parks loses it. But also here comes Tharp on that 20 again, tailing Bob Joe with him. Close action here for this final transfer spot.
Yeah, it's crazy when you're someone like T Lang and you're in that battle and you get through and you're like, okay, I'm in 9th place. Like, let me just try to hold it. Ooh, Parks goes long there, doesn't lose the spot. But then you look behind you and you got a train of 3 guys this close. Looks sketchy, hoping that they keep making mistakes just like we're seeing from Parks here. He's going to stack that rhythm, let Tharp get up into 10th position. But Tharp now has a little bit of room to make up. So, and T Lang is actually going to try to make a move outside of B. Lars, cuts inside and gets the inside. So he's going to get that position. That leaves Brandon Larson now on that blue Phil's machine. Now he's the one sitting in the final chancery spot. But they do have a little bit of gap here. So if he can just kind of hold on and try to start training with T Lang and just move. Oh, and we see Parks down, so that's going to lose someone else.
Who is that? Oh, it's Brock Peterson. Brock Peterson lap down, sponsored by a bakery. Man, Colby Eagland is way behind these guys. I don't know what is going on with the District Designs rider. He just put in a 59.5, 4 seconds down of 13th. But then 13th, Devin Davis is 17 seconds down of 12th. I have no idea why Colby Eagland is so far back here. The French putt that he got off the side of the track was just about 12 seconds. No way he would have lost that much time in that one incident. So something has gone awry here for our 2-time winner this season, Colby
maybe
Eagland,
it was
and it's
that.
going worse. Yeah, he's just having a tough time here. Not looking too sharp. Might be heading to a last chance qualifier.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of mentioned it with Whelan. Oh, look at that. I like that little line there, jumping in deep to compress that suspension. Nothing huge coming from it, but looks a little bit more comfortable. But we saw with Bryce Whelan unraveling in that 250 heat, probably the same thing happened for Eagland there. We see a different rhythm there. He still gets a quad in with a single out. So maybe he'll be able to throw down a couple hot laps here and get close. But actually, now looking at the map, he's got a long way to go.
Far
That's
back
a
there.
Tight group up there in 9th.
I want to reset this real quick here because Johnson's about to come out and take the white flag. We got McIntosh 2nd, Hubbard's down in 3rd, Butigny's right there in 4th, Lang 5th, Holiak 6th, Sullivan 7th, Larson 8th, Parks is 9th, but Bob Joe, Anthony Pachone, they're all right there in the mix as well. It's on Parks, who's trying to hold on, and he just went down. So Ethan Parks is down out of the final transfer spot. Bob Joe, local hero, trying to go through for Jack Daniels Racing. So fresh, he ain't got skins on tonight, folks. Looking sharp in P9 out here, trying to hold on as Parks is going to get up with Tharp behind him, but they've got 7 seconds to make up. A lot of time now Bob Joe has in hand to hold on to this final transfer spot.
Yeah, Bob Joe just kind of, he's the survivor, it feels like, out of this race. There was so much going on behind him. It seems like the front kind of 9, I mean, we haven't seen too much of them, but maybe with Payson just so far gone, it seems like there were some pretty big gaps there. But Bob Joe's, I think he's got what it takes to hold on here. It's really up to him. If he can survive this last lap here, doesn't have to do anything
just
special.
Yarded down there. I don't know who that was, but Payson Johnson's going to take the win in 450 heat number 1. It was McIntosh out of 2nd. We saw Supermaning in the background right there. He's going to cough up the 2nd position to Jacob Hubbard. And in the end of this thing, Johnson's win ratio in this heat race is going to be massive. I think we're looking at 25-30 seconds as one of the lap drivers just gets right up out of the way of Jacob Hubbard coming through. So let's see what the official time says here. 24.6 second lead in the end. McIntosh there in 3rd. Lang, Butigny going through in 4th and 5th. You got Luke Sullivan coming in 6th. Holiak 7th. Bob Joe is up into 8th. So B-Lars coming to the flag here with Ethan Parks. This might be a takeout. Parks going in deep, just puts B-Lars on the ground. Oh, and Parks goes to the main event. Larson's going to miss out. Pachone's going to go to the LCQ as well. Larson just gets up and cuts the track. He gets going across the line in front of Tharp right there. And, of course, Tharp will definitely get that position based on penalties as Eagland crosses the line 13th. Devin Davis, Brock Pearson, all coming across the line as well. Woo!
Rough.
What a heat race that was. But it is Parks, Bob Joe, Holiak, Sullivan, Butigny, Lang, McIntosh, Hubbard, and Payson Johnson going to the main event out of this one.
I like Payson hiding behind behind this here sneaky, when the camera showed on him. But, man, Brandon Larson, what a bummer for him. That's such a bad spot to be in. He wanted the inside, but it looks like he hesitated a little bit, let him kind of get up the inside and then kind of just leaned over on him. I feel like you either got to dive for the outside and try to be faster, or you got to swing out way wide and try to cut back under.
Mm-hmm.
But almost like a lose-lose situation for him there. So bummer for him. He will be heading to the LCQ along with Colby Eagland there. So that's not going to be an easy one because we still have the other half of this 450 class going in here. I guess the only good news is there's going to be less people off the start in that 450 LCQ. I still stupidly think that I'd have a chance, but I know there's no shot if I made it in. But hey, at least I'd be able to race the night show and get some TV time, So
yeah, so we did have 15 riders in that one. So if it's evenly split among that one, then of course we would have 12 guys in the LCQ going for 4 positions.
I liked my chances in that though. That's a lot better than 22. It's got to feel a little bit better going to line thinking, okay, I've only got to beat 8 of these guys and not 18. So a lot easier when you're missing 10 guys there. But this track's actually shaped up. We haven't seen too many really close battles with our top guys, but I do think we've seen a lot of it further back in the pack around the transfer positions as well. So I do think the LCQs are going to be pretty good here, as well as the main events here tonight. So really interesting. I didn't think this track was going to race that good at all, but the long starts right too, man. That thing, it's not even as long as some are, but it feels super long on this track. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I've been to Detroit, and I don't feel like Detroit has that much larger of a floor space than some of the other football stadiums we go to. But this track, I mean, in this game alone, is providing 57-second lap times, which doesn't always, parlay to what we see in real life. But with all those switchback corners that they have and these long straightaways, like you said, I mean, we have to be seeing at least over 50-second lap times, 55-ish second lap times this weekend.
Yeah, they do normally translate pretty well. It's weird to see like the scale, like what goes on, what they actually do with that jump across the start. I bet you that's not going to be the same because they never give us those when we really want to see them. But I was really surprised at Anaheim that they did that. But yeah, it's weird because this definitely is not even close to as big as Glendale. With that stadium floor. So I don't know what it is in this game because it looks like you could fit three more lanes over there if you wanted to. And sometimes they only leave one, but this start just feels really long to me for some reason. But hey, I mean, I'm not complaining. I love the long lap times, and it gives us interesting races.
Definitely gives us interesting races. No questions about that. All right, here we go. Final heat race of the night. 9 riders go through again. Here we go. 450 heat 2. Oh, the Phil's Yamahas almost get together of Leclerc and Carter going to the first corner. They're going to come through the first corner side by side. It is going to be Leclerc who gets the hop-on, hop-off line to take over the race lead. Carter right behind him there in second. And moving into third is the 44 of Seth Shirley. Jumping over top of him, the 14 of Matthias Janis as Jeremy Smith gets landed on from back in 5th position. And that is Carter. Our leader is down. So our leader is down in a tough spot right there. He's going to get hit by a couple guys coming through. See Pablo Vial in the 27 coming through as Carter crosses over in front of him. So it looks like Carter's going to be in about 13th position based on how many guys started this one. He's got 3 guys behind him, so maybe actually 12th. As the end of the first lap, he's in 11th. So already going to maybe be in a transfer spot here before long, but a first lap crash, not the way you wanted to start this night. Going to have a little bit of work cut out for him to try to get a good gate selection out of this heat race.
Yeah, shout out to that huge whip by Vial. But man, Braden Carter, like, what is it? Is the red plate heavier in Detroit or something? Like, what's going on with these guys tonight? The red number ones aren't having a good start so far. Carter, though, do want to give a shout out to the Phils guys with those great starts as we see Carter sliding out there a little bit. Not going to lose a position just yet. And Doolies, look at that go. Got a little interruption in studio here. Braden Carter having a great, trying to put together a great salvage here, though, from these guys. So good to see him moving up, hitting that triple in there, taking advantage of some guys not having the best rhythm through there, but he's still got a lot of work to do. His teammate Seth Shirley actually moved up into the first place position. Matthias Janis now in second, and Alexis Leclerc in third place as we see another rider down there. So that's going to be another position for Braden Carter as he moves up now into 8th place. So Vial is following him now in the final transfer spot. So these guys have a little bit more breathing room here. Don't have to worry too much about the guys behind him. So that's good. He can just kind of focus on moving forward, trying to get back up front towards the rest of his teammates.
Yeah, he's going to work through the next group of riders that are already in that switchback section. Looks like Leclerc didn't hold on to the lead for long either. It is Seth Shirley out front now. Underground RC number 44 ride Back in second behind him is Janice and Leclerc, who are battling for second place. Janice on the 14 District Designs ride. Leclerc on that 7 Phil Ski and Snowboard program. And Leclerc, who had the lead of the race after his teammate Carter went down, must have coughed it up with a small slide out or something, as he's actually going to shoot back into second place. Janice jumping off the track. Leclerc on the 7 scoots by the inside to take over the 2 spot. But Seth Shirley, our 250 West Championship leader, it's been so long since we've seen those guys race. We've seen so many of these East Coast races, but finally we'll see Shirley back in action, 250 West action next week in Seattle. Finally getting his first taste of leading a 450 heat race here, though. Looking sharp on the 44. Let's see if he can hold it down here with about half of this race still to go, plus that 1 lap.
Yeah, are we going to have to see Shirley move back down sometime soon if he keeps racking up points like this? I thought the rule was if you're top 10 in points in 450s or something, you can't go back down. So since he's trying to contend for a championship, would kind of interesting to see what he decides to do.
Look at that.
Especially what he does moving in the outdoors. Yeah, a huge line right there. Quad out. I kind of missed what he did.
I think
there.
he just went on off a little bit faster than we've seen some of the other guys go through that section, and it worked out. There's Leclerc with the quad single line right there, carrying some momentum through the end of the rhythm section, trying to get away from Janice. But yeah, to your point about Shirley, these guys cannot gain too many points by racing the 450 class. Fortunately for Shirley, this is the last race that he is going to race in 450s for the next few weeks. Of course, we have Seattle next week, which is the return of the West Coast action. And then there's a week off from racing before we return the week of April 5th for the Glendale Supercross, which is also a Triple Crown. So we'll see Seth Shirley back in action at both Seattle and Glendale in the 250 West region with that championship lead, those red backgrounds on his number 44 machine. But right now, trying to hold off the hard-charging fast Frenchman of Alexis Leclerc, who is putting the hammer down on that number 7 machine. 59.6 last time by to a 59 flatter Shirley, who went for the quad, and down he goes over the berm into the Steve Mathis Memorial nets.
God, we saw the front row seat to that. Shirley, that's when those big lines come to bite you. And look at that, in this 450 class, when you make a mistake like that, you go back, looks like almost 5 spots. He's able to regroup pretty quick. Still gets a quad there. He's actually just behind.
I think this is the battle for the lead. Yeah,
so yeah,
Janice, Leclerc, and now Shirley battling it out front.
Yeah, what a tight gap right here. We see Leclerc going inside there, getting a little bit close. Doolies over the finish line there. And Leclerc on the outside trying to make a move here, not able to cut down. Janice is doing a very good job of being protective, but this turn is going to be interesting inside, outside. I bet you Leclerc is going to be able to move over on him.
Oh, man. Janice just squeaked by, threading the needle, and Shirley's just back there licking his chops, hoping these two get together as Leclerc tries to fight up the inside, make a pass on Janice here. Ooh, Janice, a little mistake. Leclerc closing up. Both of them scrub doolies. Oh, Leclerc's going for it.
And just
and
like
he
that,
punts it. Janice down onto the ground. He just kind of rear tire tapped him into the corner. So Shirley's going to try to go for this quad line, try to get the lead back. He's got on the Leclerc. Oh, into his rear tire and goes down.
Clean himself on the outside. That's something you hate to see when that happens. That's not what you ever want to do, especially gaining that much time and getting that close to your team, or not your teammate, sorry, but getting that close to the race lead right there. But Leclerc just able to make it happen. Got that Sean Merwin 2-wheel slide, cleaned out Janice a little bit with that French lag there, but he's going to be the one moving in the first place. So now Shirley in third still, but a little bit further back. And is that Hayden Stevenson got second?
Yeah, it is. Wow, Hayden Stevenson, Yogi Designs, quietly snuck up into the second position here on that number 84 ride. So Leclerc is leading this thing. He's got about 2 straightaways through the switchbacks of a race lead right now. Stevenson runs second. Shirley is back in third. Janice is fourth. Padani now in the top 5. And then Carter right here in 6th has a shot to maybe weave through a few of these guys, get a better gate selection. Time has expired, so white flag is coming out next time by, but you never know. These guys could get a little bit of contact battling it out for the second position and allow some more positions like this right here. Shirley quads to the inside, makes a beautiful pass on Hayden Stevenson, but then cases the triple in, so Stevenson's going to have a chance to fight back right here. Let's see if he does. Almost through the front door, and Alexa just back it down and grab a handful of front brake and get out of the challenge.
Oh my gosh. And you see
Shirley goes down. He goes off the dragon's back and car wheels down the start straight. So Shirley off the side is going to let all these guys go by, including Braden Carter, who's now closed up right behind Johnny Padani. He's up into 5th position. Leclerc, Stevenson, Janis, Padani, and Carter now inside of the top 5 here on this final lap of the race. Let's see if anything happens, if Carter can close up on these guys a little bit more. Padani great through the whoops right there on the 16, trying to close it up on Janis. Janis keeping Stevenson honest. Everybody's pretty nip and tuck here on this final lap of the race.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast Carter hit those whoops and still didn't really gain much time up on Padani. You're seeing him now get a little bit closer. He wants every single spot he can get. It matters so much your gate pick in this 450 class with how close these guys are and how consistent these seasoned veterans are with their starts. So Padani actually going to get quadded over here right there by Carter. So he's going to go in. Almost thought he was going to get taken out there a little bit, but he's moving on up. But they're still all chasing. Oh, and look at that.
He's going to get into second place. Meanwhile,
Wow.
Alexis Leclerc takes 450 heat number 2. And down this final straightaway, Carter's just trying to hold off Padani, who's going to put in a last-ditch effort around the outside. But Carter somehow gets all the way back to second and double backflips the finish line. Wheelies up the face
Mad
and double
skills.
backflips as Johnny Padani finishes up in 3rd. Janis 4th, Shirley 5th, Castellaneta 6th, Stevenson 7th, Speck 8th, Thorson getting taken out in the last corner by Caleb
my
Hall.
God.
Here comes Jeremy Smith. The SYS Racing Heckman Productions ride goes into the final transfer spot. He gets the gift of a lifetime. Caleb Hall, again, just like we saw with Chase Blakely, taking Chase Blakely out in the last corner of the LCQ back in San Diego. Caleb Hall is again going to miss a chance at the main event with a last turn takeout right here there on Tanner Thorson, but instead it's going to be Smith going through with Caden Speck, Stevenson, Castellaneta, Shirley, Janis, Padani, Carter, and Leclerc. So somehow, some way, Carter got all the way back to 2nd in that one. Salvage is a good gate pick, and we got a great race set up here tonight with Johnson, Leclerc, and Carter going to the gate 1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh, what a race. I mean, crazy for Carter to get all the way back up into 2nd after that start there. But man, that last corner pass by Caleb Hall, like, I kind of blinked, so I missed most of it, but the guy went flying. For how aggressive and how much I used to practice strictly taking out my friends for this game as a skill, I feel like I've been pretty soft with some of the passes there, but I feel like you can't just do that. Like, it looked like a hard hit, but I'll have to go back and watch the replay. That was impressive there, and definitely, man, our boy Jeremy Smith able to, get that awesome free pass there and put the SYS bike in the main. So I'm not really complaining, but holy cow. I was rubbing my eye, took a long blink, looked up, and there were people flying everywhere. So bummer for them, but man, good on Jeremy Smith for that. But man, what a race. This 450 class, it's just so electric. That first race was a little bit quiet, and then that second one, so much action, so much raw speed. It's going to be crazy to see what happens when we get these guys together for the main event on this track. But man, we got our 2 favorite races of the night before we get to that point. So
yep, 2 favorite races of the night coming up. 250 last chance qualifier will be going first, followed by our 450 last chance qualifier. If you've never been with us before on MotoOption Supercross here, an AMA Esports Supercross Championship, the last chance qualifiers are the last opportunities for riders to make the main events tonight where the points are scored. If you don't make it to those main events, you don't get diddly squat from these races other than a consolation prize of saying, hey, you raced the Detroit Supercross in MX Simulator, but you didn't make it.
Kinda. Not really, though.
Some people might say you didn't race it if you didn't make the main event, but hey, at least if you were in the night show, I would consider you were actually there for the Detroit Supercross, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really count right now with the 450 class signups, but because I would definitely feel like I didn't race if I went out and got 13th and 13th in the races. But yeah, I don't know, man. It definitely counts as racing and not making it though if you're one of our title red plate holders. So Bryce Whelan, a lot of pressure going to be on him right now. From a couple of these guys that really feel like they should be in and just had some weirdo races so far with these heat races. So kind of interesting tonight. I feel like more people falling apart than we normally kind of see.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's because of all these 90s and the track is maybe slippery enough that they're getting caught out by these little front end washes or what have you, and we're seeing more of these crashes. But then the rhythm sections are also burly, so guys are casing those quads or doing things like that. It's probably a mix of everything involved here, but it's definitely created some good racing for us tonight. I did want to respond to one question I've seen Donovan Dilly in chat
Leclerc one?
A couple of times. No, he's been saying, I wanted to know what happened to Eric Dickerson. He was one of my favorite racers, but it felt like he disappeared. I'm assuming you mean Isaiah Dickerson, who was a 250 regional supercross champion in this game and then raced the 450s here and there. Was a pretty solid rider. I don't actually know the full story behind why he doesn't race anymore, but I believe he still creates models for this game. So He's been around a while. I think he's still around in some shape or form, in some regard with what he does with creation for the game, but I don't think we see him at the races much anymore because maybe he just got a little bit busy. Pretty much all of us do. I mean, myself and Andrew Wood, we were two pros back in our day that, you know, could battle for top 10s in the 450 class, and now, boy, if we even smelled a professional racetrack, we'd probably crash.
Yeah, it's I can get around them pretty good. Only learned the whoops again about last week, but definitely racing, it's a whole nother animal. These guys are just so much, especially with the way a road breaks down the tracks. It's really tricky here to race. It's so mad props to some of these dudes too, because the game keeps evolving with suspension setups and tiny little updates here and there that make this game so much different than it was. It was so basic back when we were good, 2012, 2013, kind of our prime years, I feel. 2012 was my first year, 2013 definitely my prime. And then just slowly faded away with national numbers going way back slowly to a 3-digit. But yeah, it's hard to do this. Before the 450 LCQ, I did want to ask someone asked about Leclerc and how he's changed, but let's focus on the 250 guys, because I do feel like he has kind of changed the way he's ridden in this game.
Yeah, all right, we'll get there when it's time. But right now it's time for the 250 LCQ. Sean Merwin has been giving us some heat tonight already in the heat race. Can he get at us in the LCQ? Let's go racing in Detroit. Who's going to make it to the main event? Oh, wheeling up the inside with a pretty good start. He's going to get hit from behind, but he made it through pretty clean. And he's actually going to come out in the third position. Jacob Kelly with the early race lead. Wheelan is down. Our championship leader is down. And several other riders getting stacked up in the second corner. Let's see where Whelan gets picked up at. Cole Gress is down. Austin Bear, Alex Heckman, Emmett Sund. Whelan trying to squeeze through these guys on the one. You can see him there. Oh, he's going to get a pretty decent position based on so many riders going down. He's in 13th, and there's a huge cluster of riders.
That's a rider
more riders going down at the end of this rhythm section. That's Whelan getting crossed over, and he's down again. Bryce Whelan down, and he got absolutely tossed down the racetrack in the process. Oh, boy, that is going to be a huge detriment to him. All right, let's reset things here. Jacob Kelly leads. Parliament second. Formaguina in third. And there is Race Cobble side by side with Tyler Nichols, I believe. Going into the whoops as we got Formaguina going down. Cobble's going down. Tyler Nichols almost takes him with him as he's going to go through into third place. McPherson's up here as well in fourth. Sliding out someone in the background. That's Jace Williams. My goodness, it's all kicking off. Oh, and there's our favorite Sean Merwin getting sideways in front of Calvin Formaguina. As we also got Seth Karate also right there in the mix. So I'm trying to see if I can see the one machine. Wow, 21st place. He's got a huge amount of time to try to make up right now.
God, I would say this would be so detrimental if it was anyone but Bryce Whelan with the championship lead he's got here. Karate trying to put it together. Man, Whelan got up in such a great spot there with so many guys going down in the first turn and getting up in 13th after going down in the second. I was surprised when I kept seeing that many people come up behind him. But then to go down again so soon is really a bummer for him. Formaguina here, though, getting passed by Karate, so he's going to lose a position there. Not too big of a deal right here, but they do have some riders closing up behind them, though.
I think these guys are in fifth right now. I was trying to keep an eye on and see if anything else kicked off. It is Tyson Parliament still leading this race from Jacob Kelly, Tyler Nichols, and Christopher McPherson. So our front four have established a small gap to Seth Crotty, Jace Williams, Sean Merwin. Colin Formaguina is down on the outside of the whoops right there with Race Cobble going by. And here comes Cole Gress, Carson West, and then Austin Partolo as Formaguina gets going before Emmett Sund going down, Austin Bear, and then Bryce Whelan. So Whelan right now in the 14th position. I think just moved to 13th. No, he's still in 14th, I should say. So he's trying to make up all this time. He's got to get, maybe so 15 more seconds to get to fourth. And this is a little bit of a shorter race than our heat race. So he's got to really put the hammer down to try to make this main event tonight.
Yeah, I don't like the odds of that happening here tonight. But like Holtzy reminded us in chat, talked about before, since Dollars is not here, his closest championship competitor. And look at that, getting into more bad luck. So he's still going to technically net one spot there. But if he does miss the main tonight, the next guy that's racing tonight is 41 points back. And this 250 class has been so inconsistent and so many variables going on. I doubt he'll even lose a full 26th place to his next championship contender. So that's the kind of icing on the cake here. If that does happen, it will be a 15-point gap coming into his next East Coast race to his closest contender. But, man, just kind of a bummer off all night here today. His qualifying time was actually better than I feel like it normally is. I think he qualified 6th, so not too crazy, just unable to put it together here in the actual race.
Sean Merwin is in the final transfer spot, and that is going to be absolute chaos if we've seen anything already tonight. Tyler Nichols, Christopher McPherson, and then Merwin as Merwin goes for the triple in. Alongside, he's going to make the pass, but let's see if this holds at the end of the rhythm section. Is tripling back. Oh, Merwin crosses over McPherson, and they almost got together. You can see more riders mixed in the background. McPherson gets stood up. Oh, and then down goes Tyson Parliament on his rear tire. So Parliament gets stood back up. Now behind Seth Crotty, who's going after McPherson. This is all the battle for the final transfer spot. This is going to be chaotic. And whether or not it helps Bryce Whelan, we don't know. It's going to be a long road for him to get here. But maybe, just maybe, these guys get together as here comes Crotty to make the pass on McPherson into the final transfer spot.
Yeah, Crotty just a way better drive there through those whoops. Looks like we're not going to have too much time here, so McPherson's going to have to put it back together. But Crotty's had more speed here all night and really just kind of came out swinging. Not the best start here, but he has been throwing down with a lot of speed, and he looks super comfortable. As we see, is that a lapper?
No, that's
down?
Tyler Nichols right there
Tyler
getting
Nichols.
up in third.
So if he keeps going back there, McPherson's going to see that. So Crotty's now going to try to move up into third. He's going to cut down. No, he's not going to make the pass yet, but if I'm McPherson, I'm loving this. You know something's going to go down
Nichols,
there. And there's
mistake.
Nichols falling apart.
McPherson's going to jump over Nichols, so Nichols has to try to regroup here and close up onto McPherson, but now Nichols is getting sideways. Oh, man, it's all kicking off. So we got Kelly leading, Merwin second, Crotty third, McPherson still in the final transfer spot, and they did not get the white flag this time by, so it's 2 to go right now. Parliament, West, Partolo, and then Whelan. Whelan has so much gap to make up, or else he is missing the main event tonight. This is unbelievable what we're seeing right now out of our championship leader and defending champion. Of course, as we mentioned, he's still going to lead with the championship lead, but I cannot believe how much this has fallen apart for the number 1 machine tonight.
Yeah, it's been just a real disaster is kind of the only way to put it. McPherson, though, now, so he's in the final transfer spot. He does have some company behind him since there is now a lap and a half to go. He's opened up a little bit of a gap, but if I'm those guys behind him, I'm just trying to push and train and hope for a mistake. So McPherson's mindset on this next lap and a half has to just be ride around and don't fall. But you also can't do that if you double a rhythm section. Look at that and try to triple to gain some speed, and he's losing so much more time.
Oh, rider down. That's Merwin. Merwin is down. White flag is coming out, so McPherson's going to move to third. Parliament up to fourth as Merwin now finds himself in fifth. Carson West right there. Merwin is going to absolutely send for this final transfer spot.
Oh, yeah.
And Parliament is just sitting duck at this point in time. Let's see what happens as we head into the whoops. McPherson's still getting sketchy in front of these guys. Parliament goes for the send into the whoops. He's getting sideways. How did he corral that together? Merwin still cleans him out and absolutely tees him up at the end of the whoops. Sean Merwin just absolutely murdering people here tonight. Allows Carson West through into the final transfer spot. And unless somebody else falls, that is going to be it. Partolo and Whelan back here in 7th and 8th are not close enough. Parliament and Merwin losing out on time. McPherson up here with Seth Crotty, but it's Jacob Kelly taking us to the flag. I cannot believe that even though the door was open and Merwin could have just went down the inside to make that pass, he absolutely obliterated him instead as Jacob Kelly takes the win in the LCQ. Unbelievable finish to this one. Crotty, West, and as long as McPherson can get these last couple corners, he is good to go.
God, if I'm West or McPherson here, I'm saying thank you so much, Sean Merwin. McPherson for not having the pressure on him, and then West just able to slowly move in from 6th to 4th right there. That's a nice feeling when you can do that. Got a little bit of help there. And, man, I am bummed if I'm any one of those guys, but mostly if I'm Bryce Whelan. Luckily, we keep going over the points. He's not going to lose too much by missing out on this main event. But when you're the number 1, when you got the number 1 plate and you've been such a dominant red plate holder, it's definitely a real kick. You know where to miss out a main event, and just seemed like he didn't have it all night. Like, I don't know if he's got some weird circumstances and he's got some reasoning or excuse of why he did not make it, but man, that just seems like unacceptable and can't do this more than once. You know, he's lucky he's able to do it once even in the first place. So
yeah, he's had his mulligan now, that's for sure. If he does it again, someone is going to take the championship lead away, but yeah, fortunately for him, he's going to keep it at this point in time. The one thing that we can talk about, though, is Matt Cromie, fastest qualifier tonight, going into the main event with all the momentum on his side. I believe is 4th in the championship, and he entered as 45 down or something like that in the championship. Suddenly, is a little bit of an outside sleeper to make things interesting in this championship if he can come out and win tonight. And how about Balzer too, who has been coming back in points slowly but surely from that ban at the second race of the season. He just got his basically mulligan back at this point in time because Whelan is going to miss the main event tonight. Those are two guys that have to be sniffing for this victory here tonight to try to get those points clawed back.
Yeah, so Horn at 41 back, Chromie 45, and Balzer 48. So those guys need to be the one to try to say, hey, you know, this doesn't really happen too often. Yes, if I win and I'm Horn, I'm still going to be 15 points back, but you need to try to look at it as if he keeps making mistakes like this, you actually see some cracks in the armor after a rough start to the season. You're now actually having something to kind of hope for. You know, if you're 40 plus points back, you're just kind of thinking, I'm racing, like I mentioned before the race even started tonight, I'm racing for second place in this championship. Now there's a little bit of blood in the water. So if I'm any one of those guys, I'm definitely going out there and trying to win. And especially if I'm Matt Chromie, you know, he's a couple points further back in the championship, but go out there, get a win, and kind of set yourself up. And guess what? We do have some East-West shootouts coming up. So that can be a huge points gap if Chromie can go out and produce in one of those, you know, say if he takes the win here tonight. So the championship is not over. And if there's a time to take advantage of it, it's tonight. So we need to see someone from this 250 class step up that's really close in points here. It's got to be one of those three Horn, Chromie, or Balzer.
All right, well, back in studio as we get ready to go racing for 450 last chance qualifier. That was certainly quite a chaotic 250 LCQ. Sets us up for a great 250 main event. And hey, we have another big name in this 450 LCQ coming up. Colby Eaglin had a terrible heat race, similar to Bryce Whelan.
Yeah,
he has got to get it done. I mean, it's a little bit different for Whelan because he had the huge championship lead. For Eaglin, it's unlikely he contends for this championship as far back as he still is, but this definitely eliminates him from contention if he doesn't make it here tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, some of these guys too, I mean, he's already got a really low, I'm pretty sure, career number, but some of these guys, you know, you're going for your best finish in a series. You're trying to get better and better. You know, it's cool to say I got third in the, you know, third or fourth, especially if you're racing against the guys you are in the 450 Supercross series. This is probably some of the highest this competition's ever been, if not the peak, with the deepness of the field that we see, and all of these guys are the race winners and champions kind of racing around. So Eaglin really needs to produce here, and it worries me after seeing what Whelan did, and he needs to know I'm not going to go out there and do that. So really big LCQ here for Eaglin. Really important start. So going to be interesting to see what happens here as we get off the gate.
It is go time for this 450 last chance qualifier. Can Eaglin make it through? And who else is going with them? You can see that there's a short list of names on this starting gate. Only 4 of them make the main event, though. This could be chaotic as well. Let's go racing again.
Yeah,
several guys hitting the gate. B-Lars looks like he's going to lead us into the first corner, and it's pretty spread out otherwise, but Eaglin with a good start, so he's going to be right where he wants to be as long as he doesn't go down coming into the second corner. See Caleb Hall up the inside is just going to back out of the challenge, and B-Lars leads. Eaglin second, Caleb Hall up there in third.
Yeah, if I'm Eaglin right now, great start again by those two. And Eaglin played it smart, really hugging that inside, trying to stay out of trouble. Got through that second corner, and now he's off to the races. I'm just trying to get by. I know you normally don't really want to push too much, but I know he has the speed, more speed than all these guys if he's keeping it off the ground. So he wants to get by Brandon Larson here as quick as possible and separate himself, put down some hot laps, and gain himself some confidence back going into this LCQ or into this 450 main event. And Brandon Larson takes an off-track excursion there in the whoops. So that's going to give Eaglin that gift and give him some, hopefully, breathing room. But Larson's showing him a wheel. Not ready to give up just yet, but Eaglin right where he wants to be.
Yep, Eaglin takes over the race lead here in this last chance qualifier. Larson settles into second. Caleb Hall still in third, and it is Tharp holding down the final transfer spot right now. There's a little bit of bumping and grinding back there for fourth early on, but it's spread apart now as Anthony Pachone settles into fifth, Pearson sixth, Rockefeller right there is in seventh, and underneath him is Pablo Vial in eighth. So this little grouping right here is trying to work up to that group for the final transfer spot, but everybody else behind them losing quite a bit of time early in this one. Uh-oh, Tharp is down, I think. I think that is Tharp down. Yep, on the inside line right there. So that should push Pachone and Hall battling for the final transfer spot now as it got a little bit dicey right there. So let me reset this. Eaglin, Larson, Hall, Pachone, in the final transfer spot as he moves into fourth, and he's got Rockefeller right behind him. Brock Pearson, Pablo Vial. So this little 3-rider train trying to work up to Pachon as down goes Rockefeller, and he might have taken a couple guys with him.
Yeah, Pachon doesn't need to make a move here, but it's really hard. I mean, it was so close behind him there. I was going to say that anyone can get these 2 through 4 spots. Brandon Larson's picking up some speed now, but still, fairly new and kind of learning to get that consistency down. And in Supercross, especially with the nerves of an LCQ, it's pretty nice, but he's staying close to Eaglin, which is not completely surprising to me, but impressive to say the least. But these 2 guys right here now just need to kind of chill out and kind of keep their cool. These races feel like they go on forever when you're in this position. I don't even want to know the amount of LCQs I was in and then fell out of the qualifying spot because of just nerves and making one little mistake. We see only really one contender back there that's fairly close to these guys. So Pachon needs to kind of just cruise, and hopefully Caleb Hall doesn't make any of those aggressive moves that we've seen from him now that he's in a transfer spot of his own.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to stay apart from each other. Pachon just wobbling all the way through the whoops to the outside. Might still make the pass here. Caleb Hall up the inside, cuts back across, Pachon to the outside, and then Hall just allows him to go by, but Pachon almost slides out in front of him and takes them both down. So that's the dangerous game you play here. When you let somebody by, you might get caught up in their mess, as well as Pachon still getting cut a little bit loose on some of these landings, getting kicked sideways. And Caleb Hall's just like, please don't crash in front of me. I just let you go by me. Just cruise, buddy. We got a bunch of time right here. Pearson's got a few seconds to try to make up to even get to them. So just chill, man. We're good.
Yeah, it's so scary, though. They are riding a little bit more timid and slow. You can see Pearson gaining a little bit of time. I feel like the speed is a little bit more there. Maybe not the gap where I was seeing his head peek over that Dragon's back. Not as much as I thought it was going to be, or not as close as I felt like it was, but these guys at least separating now. They don't have to worry about the guy riding next to you, because that's kind of the thing I was worried about when they were going through the whoops side by side. I'm like, you guys just need to stay away from each other. Give yourself a little bit of a gap and just kind of cruise around. Look at those gaps, though, up front. 3 seconds, 10, 11 seconds, and 12 back to 4th place, and then 16.8 to 5th. So Caleb Hall's just kind of got to go smooth and steady, and these guys are really the only ones who can ruin their race here. Everyone else, it's hard to gain that much time. It's really all up to them losing it.
Yeah, it looks like they are comfortably in position right now. It's Tharp trying to close this gap down. He's gotten around Brock Pearson. Rockefeller right now in 7th. Devin Davis just went down in 8th, allowing Ashton Rakovsky to go on through. Ohashi also back here. Pablo Vial, Tanner Thorson have not checked in anymore, so they are out of this one. So Rakovsky, Pearson, Rockefeller, Tharp, all trying to catch up to Hall, and those are the only guys that are still left circulating out here, with Ohashi actually, still in 10th. Pachon, Larson, and back to our race leader, Colby Eaglin, who right now is just putting his laps in. And for him, I mean, he's obviously going to make it through to the main event, so he can breathe a sigh of relief. He's going to have an outside gate pick. If you're him at this point in time, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to learn from this LCQ?
I'm just, the track's not going to break down even close to as much as it did with the amount of guys on his gate. Actually, I guess the heat races were light as well, so I feel like the erode wasn't the problem for him. But I feel like just getting your reps, getting your laps in, I can guarantee you after that heat race, he probably took a couple minutes to kind of chill out, but I bet you he was just back to grinding in laps on this track and getting a little bit more comfortable, finding his lines where he had problems, because it was more than just off the start with him. And same with Whelan, just mistakes everywhere and putting yourself into a bad position, but then not being able to kind of come back from them. So it's going to be difficult his start in the main event, but just getting your laps in, putting the reps down, and laying down heaters. He's a super fast rider, and that's what he's doing out here. He's just found his flow. He's cruising around, and I think he's doing exactly what he needs to be, and that confidence is going to be there in the main event. And it's one of those things I would not be surprised by a Colby Eaglin top 5 tonight in this main event.
Yeah, we've seen some of these guys go to the LCQs before, get a little bit fired up, maybe get a little bit of extra track time, that race time, to feel it out just that one more time before you head into that main event. And if he can get a good start in the main event, certainly factors in to be a little bit more of a player than what we saw in his heat race. But fortunately for him, he did go to this LCQ. He did lay down the gauntlet, and he is going to go through to the main event, no problem in the end of it. Smooth inside line to get into 2nd place early on, pass into the lead, and Colby Eaglin takes the LCQ victory here tonight rather easily in the end. Nicely done for him. Brandon Larson looks like he has got 2nd place all but sewn up over Anthony Pachon. And then Tharp has been able to make it all the way up into 4th. So Caleb Hall at some point tosses this thing away. Unfortunate for him, but for Tharp, The beneficiary of that will go to the main event tonight here in Detroit as he takes it home there with the TSCZ Productions ride crossing in P4. Hall misses out, as does Rockefeller, Pearson, Davis, Ohashi, Rakovsky, Vial, and Thorson, all missing out on the main event tonight. Quick shout out, by the way, to MX for Life 894 in chat. Best 2 commentators with Kellen and Awood, and other great broadcasts, guys. Woo. And great races so far. Definitely great races. And thank you so much, MX for Life 894, for that $10 donation. We always appreciate the support that you guys offer us, and the donations are very nice. It's definitely beer money for Andrew and I.
Yes, sir. We're gonna have a couple more. Daytona was just a little preview. We had to, and then wait till we get to outdoor season. It's gonna get loose in here. But man, thank you guys for all the support and donations, and all you guys for coming and watching so far into the season. Still got 450 plus here live, so strong showings. No matter what coast is racing, all that stuff. Thank you guys so much for the support. Man, congrats to Colby Eaglin on that race. And also Tharp on getting that final transfer spot. I feel like he earned it. He wanted that. His lap times are there. He just had some bad luck, made a couple mistakes. And is that like the most like instant karma for Caleb Hall? Poor guy. Missing out on that. I said you can only ruin it yourself, man. And it's you were there. I mean, I've been in that spot a million times before. So
yeah, I mean, I will say that he did come in here and say that he was the one that got taken out for that heat race. So maybe it wasn't his fault, and we didn't quite get a chance to see it. It just looked like 2 dudes absolutely blasting each other coming into the corner, trying to take each other out for the final transfer spot.
Pick your words carefully.
Yeah, But back in studio real quick before we get ready for this 250 main event. Did want to say one quick thing because I saw a couple people bringing it up. Why only 12 riders? Look, this happens every single year in MX Simulator. We always have a drop-off in the 450 class specifically because if you don't know, this is not the only series that runs basically in this game. We have the North America Championship, which we're racing right now for all the North American riders, and we have the EU Championship for all the European riders on a different day. So you don't have necessarily all of the best riders in the world playing on one given night. And on top of that, there's also an amateur championship that runs on Sunday every week. So there's 3 different nights of racing here in MX Simulator every week, and it kind of spreads people out a little bit so we don't have one big gargle of everybody at one race. And on top of that, the 450 class, you have to have a pro license to race it, and there's only so many of those guys that exist in this game as well. So if you don't have a pro license, you cannot race 450s, which is why we always see stacked 250 classes, long lists of qualifying for our 250 classes, which are just regional coasts, and then they split up those coasts and you still have long lists of riders. But the 450 class tends to die down. It happens every year in MX Sim. That's why we always see it Detroit and Seattle, and then as we get to Glendale and stuff like that, there will be less guys on the gate for the 450 class. But there's still I don't think I've ever seen gates empty in a main event before, even though we lose guys over the course of a season.
Yeah, definitely not to where you're going straight into the main event. Even with, I do like that they, only because I got a pro license when it happened, but when they went from anyone can race wide open to kind of tightening up the class, the 450 class, the reason that it's so much cleaner, so much more intense, is because it's the best of the best. You have to prove yourself. You have to be a clean racer. People used to lose their licenses all the time. They wouldn't just suspend them from the series for a couple rounds. You just lose your license if you, got suspended for taking people out, racing dirty, and really got rid of a lot of the immaturity that we would see within the game. I do think that some of these 250 guys, they could promote and at least give them the opportunity to race in both classes, because you can still race 250 if you have a pro license and you're eligible. You haven't pointed out, which I'm against that in real life and in this, pointing out ride what you like, especially with the difference of the 250 and 450 in this game. Yep. But I mean, there are a bunch of guys that I do feel like will get some promotions, and I feel most time you just got to ask, Seth Crotty, these guys, you don't have to be making the main every time, but show that you're consistent. You're a clean racer. You have a clean record, and you can get into that 450 class if you would like. But some guys just, like I said, don't like it and want to stay down as long as possible. So kudos to them. And yeah, if they open it up, I feel like your racing would not be as clean, and it would kind of feel like the 250 class feels a little bit some weeks and feels a little bit messy.
Well, I mean, I remember from our pro days that when you did get that pro license and you got the chance to race in the 450 class because you earned your way to that with clean racing and good performances, that it was like a badge of honor almost. It's like going prestige in Call of Duty or whatever, you got that thing that not many other people get. So if they just open it up to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, then it doesn't feel as elite when you race the 450 class in this game. So I get it. I get why you'd want more gates, but I also understand from the perspective of the pro racer side why you want cleaner racing. Maybe less people on the track as we get to round 10 or 11 in the series. It happens, but anyway, that's why it happens. On to the 250 main event. It is time to go racing for the 250 main event here in Detroit. It's been built up to this all night long. No Bryce Whelan, no Talon Zollers. Are we going to see a new winner tonight? Let's find out. 15 minutes plus a lap. Let's go. Oh, out of the middle. Looks like Horn's going to get to the corner first on the 46. He pushed a little bit wide. Hole shot goes to Matt Cromie, the 90 Phil ski and snowboard rider who won his heat race and was fastest in qualifying here today, looking for his first win in 2023. It's been a long time coming for Chrome Dog, and this is a great start for him.
Yeah, I was going to say bad news to everyone else in this class, but right back behind him in second place, that is your last week's winner, Alec Horn. So he's going to be trying to chase down Cromie here, but this is exactly where Cromie wants to be after winning that heat, seeing what happened with the points leader, feeling like this could be wide open night tonight, and you see Matt Cromie go out and pull the whole shot like that. That's impressive right there, and he'll use that some veteran racecraft here as he's getting sketchy in the whoops. He's going to be able to wrangle it, but Alec Horn got sketchy as well. He went off the right side of the whoops, had to cut that inside corner a little bit and lose some time. So now if we move back just one position, we'll see Alec Horn, and he's being chased right now by the 18 machine.
Well, that's Cooper Hunt. Yeah, Thomas Sunis also in the mix right there as we got them throwing it off of that big double jump on the first lap here. Alec Horn trying to repeat winner, be a third different two-time winner this season. We had Whelan start off the season with 2 wins, then Balzer had 2 wins. Now Horn won the 5th round, is trying to win the 6th round as he gets a little bit sideways coming into this rhythm section, carrying that momentum from last week though, and Cooper Hunt already putting the pressure on. We got pretty much all of the top guys we saw from the heat race right at the sharp end of the field in this one, and any one of these guys would be so happy to win here tonight in Detroit. Who is it going to be? On to lap number 3 we go. Yeah, I mean, seeing mistakes from these guys so much. Cromie was pretty much perfect in his heat race, but this race is going to be so much longer. Track's going to break down so much more, and we already saw him get a little bit sketchy in the whoops, so he was able to wrangle it. Horn getting sideways a little bit again as well. That's going to allow Hunt to close up, but basically the thing is Cromie's, not safe here on out. Anything can happen in this race. These guys haven't been putting down dominant seasons. It's not like the 450 class where, if they start up front, they're pretty much going to stay there after a lap or two. So anything can happen here, and I'm really excited to see how these guys react as the track breaks down more than they've seen it at all tonight. Alec Horn still keeping it nice and close there. Pretty even gaps between these top 3 so far, and Cromie's actually going to miss that rhythm section there, so that's going to allow Horn right up on the rear wheel. Yeah, Horn is going to be right there, and Cooper Hunt is coming with it. This is quickly turning into a 3-rider battle for the race lead, and Alec Horn would like a piece of Matt Cromie here before long. He's already tried to figure out a way to size up the inside move on Cromie. Can't quite get there, and all the while, Cooper Hunt is sitting back there just hoping and praying they make a mistake like that. Horn getting sideways out of the corner, and Cooper Hunt going to try to pull up alongside on the outside line of the whoops. Doesn't work though, and Horn holds the position. Cromie gets a little bit of breathing room to work with, and that could be huge in this tight battle. Yeah, I feel like these guys have just been kind of yo-yoing a little bit, talking about Horn and Cooper right behind him. These guys just back and forth, and Cromie making his own mistakes and yo-yoing as well, but Horn doesn't really seem to be catching him too much. It's more just the mistakes that each of them have been making. So going to be interesting to see how this plays out. These guys are pretty much the tightest they've been since the first lap. So Horn holding on just by a little bit, got 0.7 to Cooper Hunt and 1.2 back from Cromie. So this top 3 right here just got the great start, and they're just cruising, and they are checked out from 4th place. Look at these 3 as you come over. You can't see anyone. And no, Cooper Hunt down in the background. Front flipped off the Dragon's back and lost a few positions. Looks like he's going to lose 5, maybe 6 positions in the end of it. Gets going just as Alex Zellner gets there. Ethan Gerst, Rasmus Balzer finally see him on the 35. Seth Crotty all went by. And then we got Thomas Sunis with Carson West, who now move up into 3rd and 4th respectively. This is a great ride for Nicky T, who was good in his heat race. He fell backwards a little bit, but if he can stay on 2 wheels and be up front like this, you're going to be stoked to see Nick Thomas Sunis maybe on the box here tonight. Yeah, Thomas Sunis had that great start there. He started off about 5th or 6th, but able to make his way up with a couple little mistakes. So Thomas Sunis now you see
Third place with Carson West right behind him. Seth Crotty, who's been fast, and Rasmus Balzer, Ethan Gerst, and then Hunt all behind him there. So, man, he's got a freight train of fast guys behind him who want to be in that spot. But Thomasounis definitely with the best showing that he's had so far in this series. Looked great in his heat race, just a couple little mistakes. And you always see him with that black and white riding gear. You see him at, and he goes down. He hits that right, exiting the corner, just gets a little bit of wheel spin, cross rut there, and kind of swaps and then falls down, gets off some rider right there, goes out and taps him, falls off as well. So bummer for them. Thomasounis is going to lose a lot of spots, so that's going to put Balzer actually got past West and Crotty. So Balzer now into the third place position, and now this is a totally close gap. Not to the top two, but a huge gap for this 4-5-6 battle, 3-4-5-6 battle here.
Yeah, back and forth we go with Carson West and Seth Crotty. Crotty back down the inside is going to pass West back. You also have Gerst on the 42 there in the background. He's trying to get into the mix as well. It's all back and forth in this mid-pack battle. Let's go back out front because it's still close between our two leaders, Matt Cromie and Alec Horn. Horn doing the option line 2-3-3-3, whereas Cromie goes 3-3-3-2 through this long rhythm section. Ends up being pretty even in the end, but Horn made a little bit of a mistake. A little bit more breathing room. It seems like every time Horn gets the ball rolling and can close that gap down on the 90 of Matt Cromie, then it just stretches back out a little bit. Now, I don't know too much about their situation. Perhaps you know. Are these two maybe even talking to each other, being teammates right now? Are they trying to feel this out a little bit, get a bit of a gap established on anybody else before they start battling each other?
Yeah, I mean, Cromie's runs a little bit more of a loose program, so I feel like he's down to talk to some. I mean, he does get a little heated sometimes, so I don't know. Some guys, they honestly try to go into a separate chat and kind of focus on themselves. Maybe they'll have a spotter, but some guys just kind of run in a loose program there. But a lot of guys too, yeah, there will be a group of 6 or 7 people in there. I always race better, which is people talking. Obviously, I love to ramble, so I might as well have people doing that in my ear the whole time, not taking it too seriously. They could be talking. I feel like it's a 50-50 shot, but if you are in the race lead like this, I don't think it's too big of a deal. He's not like he's competing against them. So yeah, they definitely probably are talking, and someone is sitting there for sure telling him how big of a gap he has and how much he really has to push. So right now, with I think it's 11 seconds now, Cromie does not have to push at all.
I think that Horn went down, so he's back to fourth. Balzer is up into second. No pressure, by the way, on Matt Cromie here. We are 7 minutes into this thing, 8 minutes plus a lap still to go. And I've just been quietly doing a little bit of research here at my desk while we've been covering this race. Thank you, Andrew, for getting all the commentary out of this one. The last race that Matt Cromie won, you have to go back to January 12th, 2014, the Phoenix Supercross in 2014. Cromie beat Jeremy Henners and Dade Honeywell that night to win the 250 West round of 250 Supercross that night back at Phoenix 9 years ago. Matt Cromie trying to create a little bit of history tonight in MX Simulator and get back in the winner's circle after 9 years of not getting it done. This would be pretty incredible for him.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cromie has sucked that long, 9 years between race wins. Oh man, it's all love. I love Cromie, and it's so funny. He just came back this year like out of nowhere, and he's like, "What's up, bro? I finally got time to play the game." And look at this, he's already out there winning main events here. Yeah, a little bit less competition, but look at the way he's doing it right now. He's just absolutely dominating these guys. Goes out, wins the heat, qualifies well, wins the heat, and then is going to win this main event here if it keeps going the way it is. So he's just dominant right here. And so I think if he wins, we were talking should be 20-point gap, 21 point.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere in that ballpark. He'll definitely be much closer and definitely
22.
22 points.
Big brain.
He would be in the ballpark at least to start talking about how close this could get down the stretch if Bryce Whelan has another bad race. But hey, one person we can't count out in this main event
19.
is that Rasmus Balzer has been slowly working his way forward. We thought he might not even be racing tonight based on qualifying. It seems like he somehow got in. Not sure if that was greasing the skids or what have you, but definitely did get into the night show, made it out of his heat race. He's been slowly inching up, slowly but surely, to Matt Cromie. It's just a little bit here, a little bit there. One flat that time by to a 1 flat 0.8, so 0.8 of a second gained. It's a 7-second gap right now. And another thing that Cromie is about to start dealing with here is lap traffic. So this is not a foregone conclusion that the 90 machine out front has this thing all locked up just yet.
Yeah, got to watch out for those back markers there. You see 2 of them down already. He's got to avoid and he's running smooth. Maybe Balzer has a little bit more of the pace, but look at that, maybe thrown off a little bit, starting to get the nerves coming to him just a little bit, but still able to hold on to this lead for now. Gap is inching ever closer though as it goes on, but every guy that Chromie has trouble getting past, or every down rider actually, those are the really good ones because you don't have to battle with them. Those are
Gap is just extended
guys out. Balzer must have gone down on his own or got into someone. There's a lapper right there, but I'm gonna say every rider that Chromie passes means that Balzer is gonna have to deal with the same thing. So bummer to see Balzer. Honestly, I was looking forward to that battle heating up. I do want to see my friend win, but man, we love to see great racing here, and that's why we cover this, is to see some action. So bummer for Balzer, but there's no telling if this race is going to tighten back up. We still have 5 minutes plus a lap to go.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a crunch time down the stretch for Matt Chromie to try to hold this lead. It's Carson West, by the way, in third. Evan Holt with a great ride has made it all the way up to fourth spot. He's battling with Cooper Hunt on the 18 District Designs ride right behind him. This is, I believe, the first ride for Holtzy on this TSCZ Productions program this week. He just gave me some updated skins earlier tonight, so cool to see him having a great ride on the 85 machine. And so far, Hunt not really able to figure out a passing opportunity just yet. But even if Holt ends up inside the top 5, I'm sure he'll be stoked.
Yeah, Holtzy having a good ride here. These guys, this 250 class, they're just so back and forth for most of them. It's kind of hard to keep track. I feel like some of them, it's the first time they've been up there in a while, and some of them, they're just a little inconsistent though. So every time I do see them going up and getting a good finish, it just really impresses me that they're able to have a good race, you know, have a couple bad ones, and then bounce back with more good finishes here. But that's what's kind of fun about this 250 class, is these guys are learning. They're a little bit newer to the game, taking all the opportunities. Look at that pass up the inside. Holtzy just unable to go outside and make that stick. Cooper Hunt's going to go up the inside for both those and easily make that pass on Holtzy, move himself up one more position here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Hunt able to make that pass look pretty simple in the end to just go down the inside. Joey Rico, by the way, is up into the 6th position. Horn has slipped back to 7th. Jared Gummison on the Mid-Atlantic Power Wash ride, who we think is in his first ever main event, is in 8th spot. Haven't talked about him much because of that battle out front, but this is awesome for the 481. A little bit sideways in the whoops, dealing with pressure from Cody Cooper behind, but cool to see Gummison get in the main event, looking strong right here in the top 10.
Yeah, it's awesome. If this is his first main, running inside the top 10 is awesome for him. I love that sponsor right there. Probably his own personal company or family or something like that. That's just great to see out here. Hopefully we get some skins from him, and we'll see him in some more of these East Coast races after such a great ride tonight. If he can keep doing this, yeah, it's cool to see some standout performers that you don't really see very often here in this 250 class. Always switching it up. Cody right behind him, though, got a little bit of kind of pressure. Words are hard. Colin Allen with the OnlyFans applying pressure from behind to Colin or Cooper right there. So, man, he's trying to chase him down there. These guys, even back further in the pack, still with some intense battles here. Sometimes this thing happens for the whole entire race. You just are tied in the battle. Cody trying to make a pass. Let's see if he can. Gets a run along the outside of our Gummison. He does. He gets the spot there.
Our Gummison.
Couldn't think of the first name. Didn't want to just call him the Power Wash guy.
It sounds like a brand of whiskey or something.
Gummison.
Gummison. But he's going to slip back to 9th. Cody Cooper moves up. Joey Rico still going at it with Alec Horn. Evan Holt just ahead of these guys, still inside the top 5. There's Hunt in 4th. Carson West in 3rd. Balzer in 2nd, trying to chase down Matt Chromie. We are down to the final 2 minutes plus a lap. Matt Chromie, 9 years after his last win, he has 3 career 250 Supercross wins in this game, and his last win came 9 years ago. Can he seal the deal on this thing? Balzer is trying everything he can to make sure that doesn't happen here tonight. 1 flat 0.7 last time by. Chromie's in the 103.2 range right now, so time is actually of the essence right here for Chromie. He is hoping he sees that white flag sooner rather than later because Balzer is absolutely charging. Chromie still has probably about 4 or 5 lappers that he'll have to get by, maybe more than that. There's a group of them going over the finish line jump right now, and we should be at about maybe 4 to go this time by, I think.
Yeah, Balzer's just cruising right now. He's been so consistent. 107. That's the worst lap I've seen from him every time we've checked into him. And he drops a 59.7 there.
Wow.
Definitely putting the pressure. 3 seconds now is the gap. So that is going to be Let's see with the lap times they're running there. By the time Chromie, maybe even 3 laps there, it's going to be cutting it close. Going to be interesting to see what happens as they keep moving up. But Balzer, man, he is pushing so hard. And there comes a point where it's not managing anymore. Chromie's not managing. He needs to push. He needs to fight off this pressure, this push that Balzer's doing here, late charge.
But how much do you push and maybe put yourself at risk when we see Balzer? He's really having to charge to make this even happen in the first place. There's a chance that Balzer just goes down by himself trying to get up to this position. It's Colin Allen off the side of the track, I think that was. Moves aside, 2.8 seconds. Chromie looks like he's upped the intensity just a little bit. Has held it at that 3.1 second gap, and it is going to be so close coming this time by. It may actually work out in the favor of Chromie to get the white flag. Let's look at timing and scoring over the line.
Oh, he got it.
No, he did not. He did not. He missed it by tenths of a second.
What?
He had to have. White flag is not waving here at Detroit. If he was just a tiny bit slower, it would have been waving right now. But instead, 15 minutes has come and gone, and there is 2 laps to go here in Detroit. Balzer is trying to close down for his 3rd win of the season. Chromie trying to hold on for his 1st win. This is going to be so close by the end of this one.
That is insane. I was looking at the time, and it looked like he wasn't even on the face of the finish line, and it should be at the top. Unlike real life, but Chromie has to survive 2 more laps now of all this pressure, and it's crazy. If I'm either one of them, I'm pushing right here. I mean, the line of pushing too hard, who knows where that is with the track breaking down here.
Ooh,
Chromie's still going for that triple in, and that was too hard.
No,
Balzer
Chromie goes down. He cases the triple in, and Balzer is going to get it easy in the end. He's got 1 more lap to try to hold on, regardless of which. Unbelievable. This is unfortunate for Matt Chromie, who had this lead all the entire main event, and then gets sideways on a triple in, gets sideways on landing, and goes down. Balzer is leading as the white flag waves here in Detroit, and unless he throws this thing away, this is his 3rd win of the season for the taking. I cannot believe what I just saw.
That is insane. F's in the chat for Chromie. Rasmus Balzer, now he's just chilling up front. He doesn't have to worry about pushing. All he needs to worry about is not going down. It shows that Chromie's still... Yeah, there we go. Finally updated. 8.8 seconds behind, so he has nothing to worry about. Cooper Hunt with a great ride in 3rd there, but man, Balzer, he stuck it in until the end, and that seemed to be it. I don't know if Chromie was going triple in every lap here, but we saw that Balzer wasn't.
Yeah.
And Chromie goes for it on the last lap, and it just bites him so hard there. I really thought he was just going to stack it and it was going to get close, but he ends up going all the way down, having a fall off and throwing away his 1st win in over 9 years.
You can't believe it. You cannot believe it. But if you're Rasmus Balzer, you believe every second of it. Rasmus Balzer wins tonight in Detroit, his 3rd win of 2023, and inches that much closer to potentially getting back into this title fight. Matt Chromie is going to kick himself all the way back to Canada tonight. Unbelievable performance. Had the win almost sewn up. Lost a lot of time to Balzer in the end, and then tosses it away with 2 to go. Will end up 2nd tonight. Cooper Hunt rounds out the podium behind them, puts the 18 machine in 3rd. He was able to stay ahead of Evan Holt, who's going to get a 4th place finish tonight. Holtzy looks like he'll be stoked with that one. And Carson West goes from 3rd to 5th late as he'll round out the top 5. Alec Horn, on the heels of winning last week in Indianapolis, finishes up in 6th tonight, as Cody Cooper, Joey Arico, Jared Gummison, and Seth Crotty will bring it home to round out our top 10. Jacob Kelly, Alex Zellner. We got guys coming to the line still battling. Heilman up the inside of Zellner. This is going to get saucy. He goes down. Couple guys still coming in. Someone's getting cleaned right here. No way they all make it through the corner clean. What is that? That was too nice between everybody, as Heilman is going to bring it home in 15th. Behind that was Colin Allen, Seth Carr, Ethan Gerst, Thomas Sunis, Baylor McKellar, Clay Alfrey, and Brandon Holmes. Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, in the end, Balzer was the fastest rider on the track. Only guy in the 59s the entire main event. But if you're Matt Chromie, that just has to suck.
God, that stings. Yeah, it's crazy, too. There was a lot of 59s. Even in the LCQ, I think there were 2 59s. But I think we might have seen the switch up somewhere around 5, 6, 7 spot. If you want to go through the running order, I'm just making stuff up at this point. I just really want to see McPherson again as we're moving back through. Man, great ride by Balzer. Upsetting for Chromie. Something, though, that chat pointed out, the timing gate for the finish line is like just after that rut. leaving the corner, it's not even on the up ramp of the finish line this week.
Really?
Because I was watching people right when it switches to the camera and then it'll hit. They're like not even going up the up ramp when I was seeing.
No. So that needs to be explained a little bit because of the ping delay that exists with spectator mode. Because we're in warm up mode. Sure? I'm positive of this. If you watch someone's stream of them playing like from Discord, and then watch the stream back and watch them in spectator mode, they're always a little bit behind what you actually see. So it's like maybe a second or so.
Yeah, but we're in the server.
I know, but I promise you, the camera will switch over based on when they are going across the line in the server. So that's why it switched over, and it looked a little bit early, but it was because they were hitting that timing gate at that exact time over the finish line jump. So theoretically speaking, you're still right that like as he's coming out of the corner, he's hitting the timing gate. But I think because the time in the server is a little bit off based on what we're seeing, they actually just missed it by like a few tenths.
All right. I believe you. I'm still right, but I believe you. I'm glad that you still dropped that. Like, I think you're still right. I feel like I needed that validation, you know. Let's see. I do love you, Reed.
Wow.
Reed makes cool beats now these days.
Oh.
Retired from throwing whips. So someone earlier talked about how have you seen Alexis Leclerc change from when he first came on the scene till now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like besides being a way cleaner rider, also the game being better with JLV little netcode improvements and stuff like that, being able to race better with someone from France, because it used to be hell. Like it was just crazy to race with people even across the country, let alone from Europe. But I think he's just like settled down so much more. I don't think he has the crazy balls to the wall speed. I feel like he used to be close to what Payson Johnson is, which is just like, how is this guy doing it? What is happening? Like fifth wide through the whoops, like just insane. And I feel like he's toned it down, but lost his, who's like a real life comp that's done that, lost the crazy winning ways. It's like, maybe Roxanne now, like not pushing as he did before his injuries back in 2015, 2016, or like if Sexton calmed down and just became like a fifth place guy.
Is it
like,
comparable to like Stu 2014 where like he had his wins, he had his nights where he was still, you know, Toronto, whatever.
Yeah.
But most of the time it was Villo or Dunge or Reed or someone like that just was a little bit faster, just had a little bit more straight up speed.
Yeah.
But he, I mean, obviously Stu at one point in time was Jesus.
Yeah.
And Leclerc was at one point in time that same thing. So I would say that could be almost a fair comparison of him now, where it's like he's at the tail end of his career most likely in this game. And so he's not got that balls to the wall speed all the time, but when it happens,
it can happen.
It can happen.
It's almost like a heat race Mookie too, where it's like you can be the fastest guy in the history of the world, or you're just like, I ride around in fourth, fifth place, like, and I'm kind of watching it. Obviously, he's always contending for podiums and titles, but the way it felt like he used to be, it was crash. It was a little aggressive. Maybe not the smartest racecraft. I think he's been doing it for so long and just gotten older as well. I think he kind of learns it's a lot more fun than being on the ground and kind of exploding. But he doesn't feel as dominant. But, you know, we got a new class here. So you've got Braden Carters and Payson Johnsons that you have to kind of deal with. And not to say I don't think he's ever going to win a championship again, because this one, he's still in the hunt. And outdoors, you know, he's always there. He's insane though, but he's also just an alien, I think would be a good word to describe him, like all the time. Like he's sick. I don't know. Leclerc, he's definitely gotten more likable though, I think. I think that's the biggest thing. Is before everyone, I would say, had a bad outlook towards him that wasn't his tight-knit group. And
yeah, I mean,
I feel like he's got like fans now. Like,
yeah. Well, I think definitely what was the bad thing about him back in the day is he didn't really have a lot of people that hung out with him, and then he was pretty cocky when he would win and stuff like that. But hey, it came with the territory. He used to win everything straight up, so you know it happens. All right, back into the action for this 450 main event, and this is an interesting storyline to talk about going into this one. Can Payson Johnson and Leclerc continue to eat away at Braden Carter in this championship hunt, or will Carter start to take it back? Round 10 in Detroit starts right now.
Oh, Hubbard on the 78 with a huge jump. Wheelies half the start straight. Gonna lead us into the first corner, but he slid out. Up the inside. Race Factor Gaming hole shot goes to Carter. He does fight back right away with the hole shot. Leclerc down the inside might try to get the lead from him. Oh, there's contact. And Leclerc goes to the lead. Tripling over top. Lang goes down on the 5. Leclerc to the front. Carter settles back in. Looks like he's going to lose a couple positions as Castellaneta goes down. People shuffling either direction. We also have Connor Holiak in the mix coming up alongside. Jeremy Smith has moved into second. Carter's going to go back into third place as Leclerc leads the first lap through.
Yeah, 5th place start by Brandon Larson there too. Really impressive for him coming out of the LCQ as well. Jeremy Smith with a good start. I feel like every time he gets a good start, he's up there and can kind of hold himself up in the top spot. He might get past a little bit on speed right here as we see Carter going up the inside. He is going to make that work. Stays outside actually there. Doesn't have to make a move, but I think that's smart for him. He just needs to kind of tuck in and go. When he gets these good starts early on, he can kind of just cruise his own pace and doesn't feel like he has to push too much through the pack. So good start by all of these guys here, and we're going to have to see if Carter can come back and challenge here. We know he's got the speed. We know he's got the resume for it. So let's see what happens here after a little bit of a rough start so far tonight.
What I'm trying to keep an eye on is where Payson Johnson is or was. It looked like he was about 15th spot coming through timing and scoring first lap through. Colby Eaglin down in 18th, so a rough go for those two riders off the start. But right now it is all Leclerc versus Carter out front in this main event. I know it does look like they're teammates. I think that they're rather cordial together, but when the gate drops, the gloves come off in Leclerc's manner. He has always been that way on the racetrack. He'll race anybody as hard as he possibly can to try to win these main events. And right there, you saw what it means to him off the start of this main event. Getting that lead away from Carter, trying to set the tone early. Now, if Carter gets back to him, do we see a little bit of love tap back, perhaps?
I don't think so. I also don't think it's the best, would be the smartest move. If you saw earlier when they did get into each other, they didn't really touch bikes. So that is some things. The lag punts are a little bit better than they used to be, but they're still there. So going into a fight against Leclerc, especially if you're coming from behind, is kind of a dangerous thing to do. When you're the championship leader, I'd rather settle for a second than try to get that pass and get those 3 more points and potentially put myself down on the ground, especially with this 450 class. They normally don't spread up too much, as we see Carter getting sideways off the
he is
back.
Down.
He did go down. He wasn't able to save it. He huckabucked a long way from where he landed. That's going to allow so many riders by. It looks like about 8 riders or so.
He's going to get up in 10th. He was in 2nd, and now is 10th. We go try at least over the finish line jump as these guys all settle in a position right here. And Carter's going to try to pass back around Tyler Lang. We also got the 20 of Tharp, the 78 of Hubbard also in the mix. Tharp going a little bit wide. Oh, that's Smith down. Smith down out of second position as he had moved into. We got Brandon Larson in the mix. We got 5 riders nose to tail coming across the start straight right here with Carter at the back of this group. That is P9 up to P4 by the looks of it right now. And we're going to have way too many guys side by side off of this. Everybody getting a little bit of a kick out whip except Larson, who puts Tharp up into the top blocks. So that's another position there for Carter moving up into the 8th position. Lang just sandwiched between these Phil's riders, going to try to make a pass, gets on the back of Larson and goes down. So that's 7th for Carter. And now he's going to maybe try to triple by his teammate. Triple goes for the quad. Oh, I thought he was coming up short right there. But Larson's going to hold on right now for the 6th spot. Maybe not, as another rider goes down. That's Caden Speck, who is up inside of the top 5. He goes down. Carter also gets around his teammate Larson. Now settles up behind Jacob Hubbard as they've moved up both, I think, inside of the top 5 now. It's Leclerc leading, Holiak 2nd, Sullivan 3rd, and then this battle for 4th between Hubbard and Carter.
Yeah, Carter able to make his way up through that pack. Got some luck there, but also able to make some passes himself. Even while getting a little bit sketchy doing it, like passing his teammate Larson there. But he's on the hunt. He's on the move forward, and he definitely has a little bit more speed than his teammate Jacob Hubbard here. He's not going to make it easy for him, but I do think Carter will get past him probably this lap and keep setting his sights up in front with Sullivan, where those guys are pretty close up there. So I do think he could get himself in. I think that's a lap.
Yeah,
no, that was
Holiak
who was in front of Sullivan. Yeah. So he's going to go down. That's going to move Carter 1 spot up. And these are just points that he needs back. And all of this, though, kind of the story for me is Payson Johnson is nowhere near
Leclerc was
this.
down. Leclerc just
down.
picking it up from the race lead is going to be right in front of Luke Sullivan now, as Carter has just gotten around his teammate Hubbard to move into third. You're absolutely right about Johnson. I wanted to mention that, and you were on the spot there. He's up to 7th right now, 7 seconds off the race lead because Leclerc just went down. Johnson has made up so much time, been the fastest rider here all night long, fastest in qualifying, and this is huge. Oh, Sullivan slides out a second and gets up and takes Carter down. They're all stacked up in the corner. Carter is going to get up still in
Hubbard's
second
gonna
position now, but Hubbard is now right behind these guys. Hubbard is going to go down the inside trying to get Sullivan, doesn't quite get there. Larson, and then Johnson just gets around Jeremy Smith up into 6th. Payson Johnson absolutely flying right now, 1:2. 58.8 his best lap of the race, and he can see Carter and he can see Leclerc going the other way.
Yeah, this is bad news for honestly everyone here with how close they are to the lead. Leclerc going down, Payson Johnson being in 6th place after all this, as we see a little off-track excursion. Love that re-entry though right there. Nice and clean. Oh, actually looks like he jumped over a rider while he did it. Jeremy Smith trying to get canarded a little bit over there. Better watch out.
Oh, who's that
Payson
down?
Johnson up the inside of Brandon Larson. Someone is down.
I think that's Sullivan.
Is that
I'm trying to find
black
him.
and
There
white?
he is.
Sullivan did go down. Wonder if he got hit. Maybe a pass up the inside got pushed wide, so he goes down. So that moves everyone up. That means Payson Johnson's
Look at how
in 5th
close
place.
everybody is still. Man, he got passed by like 9 riders going down while battling for
On lap
second.
7. Like, this 450 class, it doesn't get separated as much as the 250 class is. Every little mistake is important to kind of keep yourself away from. So Leclerc with a 4-second lead, and then Hubbard 2 seconds back of that, and then Payson Johnson right there 3rd. It's kind of just destiny pretty much that every race that happens, they're going to end up 1, 2, 3 in some sort of form. And it's going to be a rarity like we saw, with Kenny and Barsha this weekend.
Oh, Johnson
with the
cases
huge
the
mistake.
quad. Dang it, man. He was catching up so much ground, and just like we saw with Sullivan, he's going to lose a lot of positions right here. Actually, not too many. Sullivan now back in good position here with Caden Speck going down, Matthias Janis, and a few other riders going by. There's Ethan Parks on the 147, Pachone. Eagland also up in the mix as well. Eagland is now behind Janis, trying to pass him as Pachone is going to go by. Eagland might pass both of them down the inside. Nice little inside move right there. But that has cost Payson Johnson several positions, as it looks like he's going to fall back to 7th place. And suddenly, not too close to that battle that was going to materialize up front. Still, though, not that far behind what's going on up front anyway, because Leclerc is leading this thing going the opposite direction in the rhythm lane. Then Carter goes through in 2nd place behind them. And now Johnson has a trail of riders that he's going to try to work through to get up into 4th place right here. But they're all still pretty close together. We're not yet halfway through this main event. A lot of racing still to go.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. We were talking about guys in the heat race like, how far do we think they can get? And they were way further back than he is of the lead right now with how much everyone's been mixing up back and forth here. Man, Payson Johnson getting around easily. Brandon Larson there having a great ride, by the way. I feel like he doesn't have the complete speed to contend with these guys, but probably be one of his best finishes ever if he finishes where he's at. But look at this, Payson Johnson trying to make a move with that inside rut, not able to get by T. Lang, but we'll see if he can make the pass here. Payson Johnson lights out through the whoops lately. He's going to go up the inside.
Oh, T. Lang was crossing over a little bit.
I like that move, though. Not a cross jump, but kind of just solidifying this is where I want to be. And look at this now. We're 3 wide. NASCAR. Payson Johnson.
Oh, who's down? That's Hubbard getting picked up, I think, right there. And so Smith and Johnson now going to continue their battle as they're all over T-Lang. And this is, I believe, a now battle for 3rd place. Leclerc has lost the lead. Carter has gone to the race lead somewhere, somehow. Carter has taken over the race lead by 3 seconds over Alexis Leclerc. So Leclerc went down somewhere. We didn't quite see it. It must have been off camera somewhere. So we'll try to regroup and see what happened at some point in time. But it's T-Lang versus Smith versus Johnson still in this heated battle for 3rd place. 3 different KTM teams. And Smith and Lang get together. Going down is Jeremy Smith and Tyler Lang, allowing Payson Johnson solely 3rd place by himself. 101.3, 7.8 seconds behind Leclerc. Now the question looms. He's got 11 minutes to try to gain all this time back that he's lost to Leclerc and Carter with these crashes. How long would it take him to get it back? And if he gets there, will he be able to make those passes?
I mean, for me, it's how many 57s does he run before he grenades himself. I mean, he's already ran a 58.1. He's been pushing, but he has made mistakes. Still good enough in this class right now to get yourself up to 3rd, but not close enough to be kind of in the battling position. So he is going to be pushing. We know that. He is the fastest guy out there whenever he wants to be. But how long is that sustainable for? 10 minutes plus a lap. This track's breaking down even more.
Look at that. Triple quad.
He just doesn't even have to try, but it's same thing. When's it going to happen?
And there's the quad through there.
God, that corner speed. And see, it's just not sustainable. I feel like oh my God, that is Leclerc down. So that moves Leclerc to third, and that's going to be Braden Carter, your championship leader and red plate holder, in the first place. Now Leclerc is chasing Payson.
Chasing Payson. Let's see if he can hold on to the 51 machine. They still got Luke Sullivan right behind them. So 2, 3, 4 on your screen right there. 51, 7, and 11. 11 seconds off of our race leader, Braden Carter, who has assumed the race lead and is starting to stretch this gap out a little bit on Johnson, who made that mistake before passing Leclerc. So now it's up to Johnson and Leclerc to do everything they can to regroup and re-push this gap down to catch Braden Carter for the race lead, or otherwise Carter's going to extend this championship lead. It was 14 over Payson Johnson coming in, I believe 19 over Leclerc coming in, and right now that gap is, of course, extending out even further unless these guys can eat away at that gap and try to make something happen.
Yeah, 15 and 18 there, but this is the way the championship runs right now. So with this win, he's just gaining a little bit more on everyone, and they're just spreading out that much more. So going to be interesting to see what happens. Payson 8 seconds down. Just under halfway, pretty much the halfway mark of this race. So interesting to see what happens here. When you got pressure behind you and you got a guy that wants to run as fast as Payson wants to run, it's gonna to me it's just a waiting game. Check your watch and wait and see. I don't think that Braden's really going to be pushing. He kind of just has one speed, it feels like. But Payson, we know, is going to be pushing. So for me, he's the one to watch unless we see any real battles here.
Yeah, it looks like Johnson is starting to lay the hammer down. Leclerc's doing everything he can to stay with him, and kudos to Sullivan because he is right now behind two of arguably the fastest riders we've ever seen in this game, trying to catch the race leader, Braden Carter, and he's sticking with him, not too shabby right now. I'm surprised Johnson, you can tell he's being a little bit frustrated by not being able to bust that quad out. Gap has gone down from 10 to 7, so either a small mistake from Carter or Johnson really is just eating away at the time that quickly. 57.8 last time by, lap traffic down on the start straight right there as Johnson goes around him. 57.9, so 57.8, 57.9 to a 58.9 out of Carter out front. So a whole second gain that last lap alone, and at the current pace, he will catch him if he continues to do that, but it is so hard to do that consistently and not have a fall-off crash at some point in time as well.
Yeah, I mean, even them running those 58s, I don't think it'll be all race consistently, especially with a couple of the big lines that they're doing to get those. Most of it is corner speed with these guys. It's really those 57 that's going to be the big line difference. But just as you're working your way through lappers, going past down riders, it's hard to kind of stay that consistently all race. So for me, it's pick whatever line you can run consistently, Braden, and don't do that. Because those tenths here and there, they're not worth it. That one time you go down big. So like these 450 guys though, going inside here.
Leclerc is in a second. I think Johnson went down in that rhythm section that we just saw. Carter getting a little bit sideways in, so Johnson shoots himself in the foot again, and we have yet another situation where Johnson has crashed away an opportunity to try to catch this gap back down. And if he keeps doing this, he's just not going to be able to get those points clawed back in his favor. Meanwhile, Leclerc, now 9 seconds down, moves into the second position again. So Carter being consistent out front. I mean, this is what's won him these two MotoOption Supercross championships coming into the season, as he's looking for his third straight. He'd be the first person ever to win 3 straight MotoOption Supercross titles in a row if he can do it here this year. And this is what's won him those titles. Consistency is key. Even though he's maybe not running the outright fastest laps every lap, he is running laps that are much faster than some of the guys that he's racing with. And he's pretty close to what those guys that are trying to catch him are doing. And he's doing it just a little bit safer so he doesn't go down.
Yeah, honestly, it's impressive to see the way that the Braden Carter has been able to kind of manage these championships with the amount of speed that he has. But he seems to have found that line of where he can push. He's so skilled these last couple years. It's just really been impressive to watch. You can see kind of different riding styles just between him and Payson especially. But, I mean, we saw Payson trying to push and trying to hot lap, and it's like, okay, he could if he keeps running this lap, but he only made it 2.5 laps before he grenaded himself. So Braden Carter has found that edge and knows exactly how hard he can push 90% of the time. So it's really no surprise to just the way he's been winning these championships is impressive. Impressive to watch, and to have that kind of time to settle down. Look at that with that 2-3-3. Sometimes you just gotta, it's not there, and being able to back off and know that you don't have it is honestly, it's impressive watching Braden Carter ride.
Yeah, he definitely understands the way that the track develops and knows which line is the best opportunity to take. As Sullivan is dealing with the attack again from Payson Johnson. Johnson on the 51 around the outside moves back into second place. So at some point in time, Leclerc must have had a mistake or a fall because he has dropped back behind these guys again. So Johnson moves up into second position, and you could say the chase is on again, but this time it is a lot more bleaker than what we thought a bit about it earlier on in this main event. It is 5 minutes plus a lap still to go. 58.2 last time by for Johnson, but he's 12 seconds down. 58.7 for Carter, only a half second gain that last lap alone. And Carter's not even doing the big lines. He's the one that's checking up doing double, triple like you had said, and not going for the quad right there, for example. So Johnson either has to break neck speed here and do 2 seconds a lap faster to catch him, or hope that Carter makes a mistake, and Carter doesn't make too many mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's was it 2 weeks ago, or we saw him kind of start blowing up, and just, I mean, actually last week was really rough too. I wasn't here for that, but I did watch the race, and it's honestly, it's weird to see when he starts making mistakes like that. So I don't expect too much out of him here tonight. Payson Johnson, though, obviously going back, throwing down some heater lap times, a little mistake there. Still in the 57s though, which is just ridiculous. But if he gets any closer, Braden will have to worry if he does make a mistake. You know, you never know what can happen. 4 minutes plus a lap to go, and a lot of lap traffic to deal with. So it is going to be interesting to see how they kind of navigate through the racetrack here. But man, it's just surprising that Payson can make those mistakes, and he still ends up second here with the competition that he has, Leclerc, Sullivan, and so on.
It's remarkable to see how hard Johnson's pushing and how fast he's hitting this track, and you're just not seeing that time go down very much either. It's still just 11.4, 11.3. Like, he's making up little tenths here and there, but you'd expect with how hard he's pushing for it to go down even more than that, and it's just really not materializing for him right now. Finally under that 11-second mark, but then it just jumps back out again. It just seems like Carter's able to kind of match every little tick that he's doing. Even if it's not a full match, he's not keeping the gap too far apart in the end, because it's only a few tenths at the end of the lap here and there. 58 flat, 58.6. So 6 tenths gained right there again for Johnson, but that's not going to do it, especially when we only have 3 minutes left to go. Carter has got this thing in the back pocket at the moment, but we're getting into that lap traffic down late in the race. There's not too many lines to go around. That's the only thing you could see that maybe reaches up and bites Carter here at this point in time.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking to watch because of the way that these 450 class races happen. They keep it so close, so any big mistake can be the deal breaker here. And we have seen it happen before. So race isn't over till it's over. I mean, we saw it in the 250 race with Chromie. So going to be interesting to see what happens here. Just kind of cruising and watching here as he works his way through the field, but kind of nothing else really happening here too much. I don't know if we have any battles kind of going back, or if you want to run through.
Looks like
top 10.
We got to change for second.
Sullivan?
Johnson went down again, so Luke Sullivan is up into second place. It's just Johnson and Leclerc constantly tossing second place and away. So Leclerc is now into third. Hubbard is fourth. Eagland is into fifth as Johnson slips back to sixth, but he just passed his teammate back right there over the finish line jump with a nice little inside line right there. Tyler Lang is in seventh. Johnny Padani is in eighth, but not for long as he goes through the front door. And Jeremy Smith is going to go by into that eighth position. Oh, and that is Boutigny?
Johnny Padani. I don't know. And they're really red.
But Pachon in ninth, and Tharp rounding out the top 10 with Holiak just behind him. So battles all the way throughout the field, including Matthias Janis getting up onto Holiak right here, going into this last corner. Let's see if he uses this inside line to his advantage. And he does, to move up another position. But yeah, it's definitely separated apart at the front there.
Is that Boutigny again?
I know, just everybody crashing.
Same
Down
guy.
the inside, Janice is going to get back by. And that is
Luke
Tharp
Sullivan
off the side of the track.
Oh,
yeah.
Tharp.
TSCZ Productions, man, they're getting you every time.
God, they're black and white boys looking like. Look at there's Seth Shirley down. He was having a great ride so far here, so he's down as well.
There's Sullivan. So Leclerc just got back around Sullivan into second place by the looks of it. And the 7 machine trying to hold on to this second position and minimize the damage. The damage will be done, though. At this point in time, Carter is in cruise control out front at this late stage of this main event. And he's looking very solid while he's doing it as well. Can anybody else say anything about this battle for second, though? Sullivan would like to say something about it, battling it out with the number 7 of Leclerc. 11 of Sullivan going after it for P2.
I want to give Sullivan props. He is barking right now. I feel like his speed hasn't been there all day. He's kind of been in lots of like weird crashes. It's every time I see him, it's he normally doesn't have that balls out speed. They have to go around the down rider right there, but he's putting pressure on Leclerc, and that's no easy task to do, and something I feel like we haven't seen him do too much this season, but he definitely has been has done a lot before. So really good to see him kind of finding his flow on this track and throwing down some heaters. It's hard to run with these guys. So really good, impressive by him. And, I mean, you're out there beating Payson Johnson, who I know he's made his mistakes, but he is the definition of, like, I am speed. So Payson now all the way down into 6th, and holy Colby Eagland up into 5th right now. Just see that scrolling across the board.
And as a shot at 4th, he's on Hubbard at this point in time as well. So Eagland, from a disaster of a night so far, still has an outside shot of getting some good points going in his direction, which would be huge for the 24. But I think all these guys are just kicking themselves. The opportunities that have been presented to them here tonight to try to chip away at Braden Carter's championship lead have all but dried up, as the white flag is going to come out this next time by. The 20-minute clock has now expired, and there it is. White flag is waving for our race leader, Braden Carter. I don't know how the heck Hubbard just rode out of that. Actually, Carter's lead has dwindled a little bit now. It's not as big as it was.
15, now it's 7. I wonder if he had a short fall off or multiple kind of run-ins with someone. But so Carter only 8 seconds, but still with 1 lap to go, that seems like a lot. But like we said, if you go down once, he can make a huge last-minute mistake like we saw with Chromie earlier. So he's really going to play it safe with these lappers here, I would bet, as we see him coming through these next kind of three rhythm sections here. Like that, Lapper's going to give way, and he's going to go double in right there. I love that, being smart.
Yeah, playing it safe through the long rhythm as well. That's what he does, man. Play it safe and survive while the others give you the barrage of a challenge. Just sit where you are and hold position, turn your laps, and do what you can to get this win. 5th win of the year is underway. Braden Carter wins tonight in Detroit, his 5th win of 2023. He's won half of the races this year. No surprise to see him with that championship lead as the ball keeps rolling in his direction. The one is on top tonight in Detroit.
Yeah, shout out Luke Sullivan for a great 3rd place ride there. As we move on back, Hubbard was able to hold on to 4th. Into 5th was Colby Eagland, and 6th coming across the line is now finally Payson Johnson. So he's going to wrap up 6th place. 7th place is our boy Tyler Lang. And then Jeremy Smith, 8th place. Man, he must have had a hell of a race with Tyler Lang, because those guys got into each other earlier off that Dragon's back, and seems like they were with each other all race. So nice 8th place finish. Nice solid top 10 from Jeremy Smith. 9th place is Johnny Padani. Nice little wheelie there.
Yeah,
Mr.
last
Tsunami
guy
there. Last guy across the track.
A little backflip for style over the finish line. Sheesh, over the finish line jump. Change for 3rd. Sullivan, who got
Hubbard.
it. Sullivan rode a great race. Deserved the
cheater.
podium. But unfortunately, it's going to be Hubbard who walks out of here with the podium. A Phil sweep of the podium as Leclerc picks up 2nd. And Carter wins his 5th main event of 2023. And he now unofficially, I believe, has a 22-point championship lead over Leclerc, who moves past Payson Johnson again back into 2nd place, if I have that math correct. Was Leclerc 19 down coming in? Do we know? Question mark?
15-18.
15-18. So it's a 21-point lead now for Carter over Leclerc, who moves back into 2nd place. And there you can see the teammates. They're just rolling through the rhythm section together, celebrating, having a good time. It's going to be a good night here under the Phil's semi. I'm sure they'll be kicking back a few brewskis, or maybe 5 if they're all partying together at the end of the night. But you can see they're enjoying their time out here on the track, enjoying one more little loop around Detroit here for you fans, as Carter wins that 5th race of the year and now sits well atop of the championship standings. Gonna need some miracles down these last 7 races for someone to claw it back away from him.
Payson ran a 56.8 on lap 21.
Man, Johnson gave it everything he could do to try to get Braden Carter off his game here tonight. But in the end, Carter prevails. 5 wins out of 10 rounds this year. Carter is looking so good. It's tough to bet against him. And we thought Johnson might be on a little bit of a run here with that solid race win last week at Indianapolis. He looks so good in qualifying and his heat race here tonight. And still Carter wins. What do you got to do to stop the guy?
I mean, consistency wins championships. Speed doesn't. If you're throwing yourself on the ground multiple times every race, and that's just something he's got to learn. People say he doesn't care about winning championships, but he does. You're not that fast, and you don't show up every week if you don't want to win the title. So, I mean, it's cool that he runs the fast laps, but man, now it's Leclerc's the one that's kind of got a shot. So, I mean, 7 races left to go. Leclerc's going to be one to watch out for.
The yo-yo continues and the show goes on. We roll into Seattle next week for round 11 of MotoOption AMA Esports Supercross here in MX Simulator. I want to give you a thank you to MotoOption Clothing as well as Underground RC, Phil Ski and Snowboard, and Race Tech Suspension for backing us here this year on RaceFactorGaming.com. Init Esports and ESTV as well for broadcasting the series, and Init Esports being the sanctioning body behind it, as the AMA got involved and made this an AMA official series. So thank you guys to all of them that have been behind the series, as well as you fans watching at home. You guys watched a terrific set of racing here tonight at Detroit for round 10 of MotoOption AMA Esports Supercross. For Kellen Brower and Andrew Wood, we'll see you guys next week in Seattle, where the racing continues, and hopefully we see more great battles there as well. So we'll see you guys in the Pacific Northwest next week. Bye-bye for now.